regenerative cell
crucial.
therapy to restore the tissue in your achy joints. They're using biologic growth factors with robust healing properties, carefully and strategically placed in your joint. It's a powerful and potent way to give your joints new life, repairing old tissue. Best part, with QC Kinetics, there are no drugs, no surgeries involved, and there's no downtime. This is an all-natural cellular level option with lasting relief. The patient satisfaction reports are astonishing. Imagine doing all the things you enjoy this summer without being slowed down by that awful joint pain in your knees or back. Call QC Kinetics now and learn about these cutting-edge treatments that can help you live your best life. Call 828-333-9517 in Asheville and Greenville. Call 828-333-9517.
Portions of the following program were pre-recorded.
From the Ingalls studio, WPEK Fairview, WMXF Waynesville, W225CJ Candler, the #1 preset in your car, and the new and improved iHeartRadio app. Free never sounded so good.
No, I don't wanna. No.
Now, your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website, GRAND. That's GRAND. Enter it now.
Go to ESPNAVL.com to play, and good luck.
Live from the Ingalls studio,
I can't wait to play with myself every day.
the Sportsocracy.
Damn the devil to hell! Let the big dogs eat! Let them on the field!
Come get you some of this.
Fire them cannons! By golly, put more powder in those things.
He couldn't take any more disappointment.
Oh, my God. The Jets killed him.
It is ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, 1400. We are the Sportsocracy, coming to you live from the Ingalls studio and from the NFLDraft.net Mullet Manor. All of the things are working for now this afternoon. Let's find some wood, knock on it. Everything good?
Knock on wood if you hear me, man. We got to get this show to a place where we can get to the end, man. We don't finish well around here. We got to finish better.
That's right. Got a little sloppy as the clock wound down yesterday on the program. Hopefully, we will have a near flawless victory today as we possibly can on Fatal Flaw Wednesday here in the Sportsocracy, because if you didn't know, many teams around the NFL don't really have a chance to win a Super Bowl this year.
We're going to hurt some feelings. I mean, look, today is a day. Today's a day for honesty and
hard truths.
Alex S. already with the most observant thing of the day, commenting on the beard trim and the fact that for the first time in all of mulletdom, I have appropriately pulled my hair back the right way to where it doesn't give me a headache. Let's go. It's growth, personal growth.
What? Okay. I didn't know there was a right way and a wrong way to do that.
Well, I haven't decided.
Experienced it, so I don't.
Well, that's because there's more hair in my drain than there is on your head.
Precisely.
I have decided I'm either going to grow the hair out further, or I'm going to cut it all off, and I have not determined which one yet. I don't know. I don't know how bad it's going to irritate me the longer it gets. The problem is that now, as you get 4 hours away from any shower or anything like that, and all of a sudden I look like a grunge bass player from the 1992. And it drives me nuts because I have these little eye curtains that I don't like. So This morning, I as I was doing my preparation, I went, we're putting this up wet because I don't know how to do it any other way. So I got a man bun right now it is on point.
Okay. All right. Welcome into the program. It is a Fatal Flaw Wednesday. Talking about of course, the hard truths. Right, at some point we've all needed someone to sit down across from us and give us the straight dope, as they used to say.
The straight what?
The straight dope on what the future looks like. Let's be honest. Do you have anything going for you and your NFL team? If you're a fan of the New York Giants, it's hard to see. Actually, it's easy to see the bright spots because the rest of it is so gross. So each and every team we will cover today. Also tonight, I want to remind everybody the schedule release tonight in the NFL.
Well, this is the reason we wanted to do this today, because we're going to give everybody a little hope, of Your team's young. You're not going to win a Super Bowl, but things could go well. Yeah, you could win some games, and then the schedule's going to come out tonight, and over the next 4 days, I'm going to go game by game. And on the TubeView, I'm going to put out what I think your record is going to be in 2025. And there will be some feelings hurt in that because I've looked at some of your schedules and some of your rosters, and much like that loser you went to college with, not going to be a lot of wins here.
Right.
Billy's going to end up working at his dad's auto shop changing tires. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Everybody needs a job.
Schedule leaks all over the place. Just a reminder to don't trust too much. If you see a trusted source, okay, keep it in mind that hey, maybe that could happen. But always remember, the balls are still bouncing here. Things could change before tonight.
Oh, let me go to the Mullet Mail. As of 9:47 this morning, the schedule wasn't done yet, so I would be really cautious of believing anything you see that doesn't come from the television vendor, because that's the way they do this. So if you don't know how the schedule's done, basically all of the networks get their chance to go, that's the game I want. They kind of fill in the rest of it from there. So there are Carolina Panther dates that I keep hearing, oh, it's going to be this. I can't tell you that that's even done yet. Mm-hmm. They may still be working out logistics because there's a lot that goes into this.
Anyhow, we will, of course, have the coverage and live reactions of the schedule release tonight.
We have breaking news on the schedule release, too. You want to go ahead and hit your button, and we can do it right now?
Yeah, let's go.
Who's going to break the news? Who's going to break the news? Who's going to break the news? Who's going to break the news?
I let your awful dancing go for a second before I hit the breaking news button. I felt like people needed to see what, unfortunately, I can't get away from because you're always on my screen. The one thing about the Carolina Panthers schedule that I can confirm is that their home opener will be in week 2, and we will be there. Can confirm. That will be our first NFL date on the Living the Dream tour schedule. Potentially. There's one thing that could burn that where it would be the second NFL date we did, but not likely.
Latest rumor that I saw about week 1 for the Carolina Panthers is they're going to be in Jacksonville, taking on Travis Hunter and the Jacksonville Jaguars. So it could be a battle of the cats in week 1 of the NFL schedule. Again, full live reactions tonight on the YouTube stream. Now, Jeremy, 32 teams, and there's a lot of fatal flaws around the league. So we got to start now. We can't wait around. We're gonna have to get into this before we run out of time to talk about the good teams like we usually do.
Oh, you're not really gonna have to worry about that because I'm about to eliminate. Oh, let's see. I'll conservatively say 10 teams. I'm gonna eliminate right now because you all have the same fatal flaw.
Okay.
The New York Jets, the Cleveland Browns, the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Tennessee Titans, the Indianapolis Colts, the New Orleans Saints, the New York Giants. You're all lumped into one category. Your fatal flaw, you don't have enough talent. Just point blank, your roster's not good enough. It's not one thing. This is, when the girl looks at you and says, it's not you, it's me. No, dog, it's you. And it's you to so many things that she doesn't want to itemize all the reason that she started hooking up with Dan from accounting. You got a lot of issues, bro. You play Dungeons and Dragons on Thursday nights. You talk to people about your ant farm. You collect stamps from different countries. You're a weird dude, bro. You got a lot of problems. Uh-huh. All of those fall into one great big pot of it's not just one thing. You just don't have enough talent. Mm-hmm. Now, what can be the positive in 2025 for all of those teams? I'll start with my team because it was the first one I said in that list. This season for the Jets is a win if blank. Fill in that blank.
If the defense is awesome.
I think the defense
like
will already
it
be
was
awesome, so that's not where I was headed.
That's
That's found money because the defense has been good for years. You need it for it to be a success. It's got to be something that you achieved.
okay.
Yosemite Sam could coach the Jets defense and it would still be good because you've got Quinnen Williams and Quincy Williams and Jermaine Johnson and Sauce Gardner. There's as long as the defense doesn't regress, you're fine.
But there was regression last year.
Well, there was regression last year because you couldn't have scored in a sorority house with a pocket full of hundreds.
Can you this year?
That's where I was headed.
Right.
2025 is a success if next offseason you walk into it knowing Justin Fields is your starter. That's the only win here. Because if you're looking for a quarterback again, for the 7th time in 12 years, this whole year is a miserable failure regardless. Breece Hall could run for 1,000 yards. You could run for 30 touchdowns. I don't care. You still have a hole at the biggest position in the NFL, and you've had one over and over and over and over again. And now the new administration tied themselves to Justin Fields, and their first one was a flop.
So there's no hope here.
I don't.
I don't think you're going to be happy with that. I mean,
I'm not going to be happy with it. The question is, are the Jets happy with it?
Typically that's the cookie cutter answer of we just want everybody to get better. Do you though? Because if Justin Fields only gets a little better and you just win enough games for him not to, lose his job, that doesn't help anybody. And I don't think he's an elite guy.
Well, he's not elite. I don't think anybody would tell you he's elite.
Right, and I don't think that he's a franchise quarterback. You're going to be running the same thing over and over and over again. I don't know what best world scenarios, the New York Jets are terrible. You score 7 points a game, but you only give up 9 points a game. You lose all of them, and then you find a quarterback in next year's draft. To me, that's the dream scenario for the New York Jets.
Well, the dream scenario is that you already have a quarterback, that you've got Justin Fields on a deal, and everything just works out all hunky-dunky. Mm-hmm. Do I think that's going to happen? Not really.
No.
But it could. I mean, look, if Justin Fields duplicates the best season that he's ever had in the NFL, which for me was 2022 with the Bears, threw for 2,200 yards, 17 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. So let's manipulate those numbers just a hair. Let's say he goes all the way up to 3,000. He ran for 1,150 that year. Let's drop that down to 900. Runs for 8 touchdowns, which he did that year. Throws 20 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. He's the starting quarterback of the New York Jets in 2026. Question is, can he do that? And I don't know. Stephen A. Smith said the other day that Justin Fields' career is on the line. I agree with you because this is your last chance to be a starter. You went to Pittsburgh to do the rehab of your image and you got stuck behind Russell Wilson. They have no other option. They are fully committed to you. Mm-hmm. And this is where you got to show it.
Okay. All right. So the hope is that Justin Fields is the quarterback of the future.
Yes.
All right. You want to go to the next New York team?
Yeah, we can do that. That's fine. The New York Giants, your hope is that Jackson Dart shows you enough this year. Look, their defense is going to be good. I don't know if that's like breaking news to anybody or not. That defense is not going to be bad. I like Drew Phillips a lot. Signed Paulson Adebo in the offseason. The big signing that nobody ever talks about is Javon Holland because he ties a lot of that together. Him and Newbin can play too high, and that really helps your secondary. Then you look at the front seven. Have you ever actually looked at who starts for the for the New York Giants?
It's a pretty good group.
So you got Rakeem Nunez-Roches, who you know from his time in
solid
in Tampa.
He's a solid piece.
Him and Darius Alexander are going to kind of combo with Chauncey Golston. That's going to be your edge pieces. Mm-hmm. From there, you go Dexter Lawrence, Brian Burns, Bobby Okereke, Micah McFadden, Abdul Carter. That's really good. And by the way, did you notice I didn't even say Kayvon Thibodeau? Because now he's a situational pass rusher. Your defense is going to be good. The question is, what do you get out of the young guys? What do you get out of Jackson Dart? Because look, we all know Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston are not the solution. I don't even think that's spicy at this point. It's it is what it is.
But how long do you play that game?
With those two?
Yeah.
We'll talk about it tonight when they release the schedule. When I get the whole New York Giants schedule in my hand, I have a feeling I can tell you the week Jackson Dart gets into this lineup.
Right.
Because here's what I think is going to happen. I think Russell comes out and we realize just how bad he actually is when he's not propped up by talent. The offense is going to be gross. They lose 4 of their first 5, and the average score is 16-6. They move on to Jameis for a handful of weeks. Jameis comes out, has that blow-up game where he throws 3 picks. And then Jackson Dart comes in. Mm-hmm. And if Dart shows you what I think he's going to show you, that might be enough to keep Brian Daboll employed. That's your only hope. Because you're right now, I would say, at a 97% chance that 1 year from now, you have Jackson Dart going into year 2, learning his second system with his second offensive coordinator, and historically, that does not go well.
Right. You got to hope Jackson Dart comes in ready to play, and not necessarily right away, but, you want him to be comfortable enough to take over, in my opinion, within 6 weeks. 6 to 7 weeks of this season, because the only scenario for me is if somehow by some miracle this team's like 5-2 with Russell Wilson to start out, because at that point you can't make the call. But more than likely they're going to be 1-6 or maybe 2-5, and then Jackson Dart comes in and he has to show you something to be able to save both those guys' jobs.
All right, so I'm going to take what you just said, and I'm going to give you the path to righteousness, where the Giants can actually have what you just said happen and it still be a positive year.
Okay.
Look to Drake May last year. Mm-hmm. Drake May, how many games did Drake May start last year? Not play, because he came in against the Jets. I'm trying to remember who else he came in against. I think it happened the second time.
Okay.
How many games did he start last year?
Was it 11, 12?
12.
Okay.
Let's say the first 6 weeks just go so unbelievably bad that you have to fire Brian Daboll. Mike Kafka takes over, and through the second half of the year, Jackson Dart is so good in that offense that you look at Kafka and go, that's our guy, and you hire him as the next head coach. That's the only positive, because if that's not it, you're going to be in a second system with Jackson Dart. And I got news for you. Where this kid, what he's coming from to what he's going into, he was one of the highest of the high that I wanted him in a stable situation. The Giants are the furthest thing from that right now.
Yep. All right, it is ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, 1400. The Sportsocracy on a Fatal Flaw Wednesday. The New York teams are out of the way, so we don't have to talk about them anymore. We will dissect more of the terrible teams, just the talentless crew of the NFL, and give you a couple of bright spots at least of what you can look forward to in 2025. We'll be right back.
There's a lot
clear
about in 2025, and for your Atlanta Braves, it's all about a fresh start.
1-2, he hits one well, deep left field, gonna head back to the wall, boom!
I'll be right back.
Home run!
Join us for Atlanta Braves baseball all season.
Fly ball deep right field, hanging high, carrying back to the chop house. Look out!
The mountain's home for the Braves. Asheville's #1 sports station, ESPN Asheville.
We're with Bridget. whose husband won't be home for months, and whose daughter is due any day. We're with Mike, who's leaving home to protect his family and yours. We're with all service members and their families who need community, connection, and maybe a bit of magic. Are you with them? Learn more at uso.org today.
Here's what's trending now on the new and improved iHeartRadio app.
She's back. Khloe Kardashian returns to On Purpose with Jay Shetty, and she's getting real about healing and self-love. Plus, Caroline Levitt shares what it's like being the youngest White House press secretary in history on Post Run High. And Rob Lowe spills some of the funniest stories you'll hear with Chelsea Handler on the Dear Chelsea podcast.
Explore the latest. Open the free iHeartRadio app and see what's trending now.
Wheels for Meals of Western North Carolina is doing it again. Their next car show for a cause is coming up Saturday, May 24th. Cars Against Breast Cancer at the Advanced Auto Parts in Oakley Plaza, 801 Fairview Road. It'll be an afternoon of family-friendly fun with a 50-50 and raffle prizes, including a PS5 and the grand prize, a week in a condo in Myrtle Beach, Tennessee, or Virginia. There'll be live music, face painting, and games for the kids. Join Wheels for Meals Western North Carolina, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m., Saturday, May the 24th at Oakley Plaza.
Welcome to the Ingalls Table, a delicious destination with recipes galore. Need to whip up a dessert, entree, side dish? No problem. The experts from the Ingalls Table take you through it step by step with expert tips and advice along the way. Find the Ingalls Table at ingalls-markets.com or swing by the store and pick up your free copy of the Ingalls Table magazine. And let's
All right.
Ingalls. Low prices, love the savings.
All right, we'll knock out the rest of the bad tier here.
Teamed up under a new local
it was the Browns, the Jaguars, the Titans, the Colts,
Mountain Graphics and Showtime
the Saints.
Sports can customize whatever you, your team, or your local group may need with high-quality screen printing, embroidery, and laser engraving. Visit MTN Graphics.
Browns, Jags, Colts, Titans, Saints.
AVL.com. That's MTN
Browns,
Graphics,
Jags, Titans,
AVL.com,
Colts,
or Showtime
Saints.
Sports,
Yes.
AVL.com for your local one-stop custom apparel shops.
This is J.W. Whitley, General Manager at Parks Ford of Hendersonville, introducing you to this month's Parks Community Heroes, Corey and Kristen Short and the entire team at Silverados, who converted their music venue in Black Mountain into a donation and distribution zone in the wake of Hurricane Helene. Corey and his team founded Valley Strong Disaster Relief, dedicated to providing essential support to our neighbors in need. Nominate your Parks Community Hero at parkscommunityheroes.com. Experience the Parks Promise today at parksfordhendersonville.com.
The Sportsocracy.
These guys are a f***ing disgrace.
Back in the Sportsocracy, Fatal Flaw Wednesday, and we're talking about the those teams that are just bereft of talent. The Cleveland Browns are one of those teams. It baffles me. It baffles me how continually the Cleveland Browns just find a way to screw things up. Remember how good we felt about the draft for the Browns up until a point? And then and then you go and just create problems for yourself.
Cleveland is the one team that I look at and go, how can this go well?
What's the long game?
What, I mean, honestly, just I'm looking at who the Browns play in 2025. I want you to tell me where the high side in this is. What can happen here that we walk away from this and go, that was good? At home, they obviously play the three teams in the division. The Packers, the Vikings, which is in London, the Bills, Dolphins, 49ers, and Titans. Do you see a win at home for them? Maybe the Titans?
They could possibly beat the Titans.
Could they beat any other team I just said?
In a fist fight, possibly.
How?
I mean, I'll never count out Myles Garrett.
Okay, so explain to me. There's one that I'll give you.
Taking out 7. I don't.
San Francisco. Because San Francisco is going to be so bad against the run that there is a possibility that they could just run all over them. But you're asking two rookies to do that behind a mediocre offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
Then you go on the road. You get the Raiders, the Bears, the Lions, the Patriots, and the Jets. You see where I'm headed with this?
Mm-hmm.
Your high side, and I mean your highest of high side, is you go 5-12.
Yeah.
You go 5-12, and I bet you play no less than 3 quarterbacks. It's the one team that I just look at and go, I don't know where the upside is. What is the good?
Establishing stars for the future.
Who?
You establish Quinshon Judkins as your next running back. You establish a quarterback, whoever that is. I mean, I guess you got to hope that it's one of the guys that you drafted. There's a reason you drafted him. Dylan Gabriel or Shador.
Good luck with that. By the way, have you seen anything from camp with those two? Because I have.
No.
Brutal. Brutal. Not unheard of because defenses tend to be ahead of offenses.
Mm-hmm.
Both have thrown horrific interceptions. And Mason Graham was puking all over himself at practice the other day.
Yet. What?
Do what?
I didn't even think they were throwing against competition yet.
Oh, yeah, you're throwing against shell. It's non-contact. You're in shorts. I mean, it's what OTAs are.
Mm-hmm.
It's brutal. Oh, and Mason Graham was puking all over himself at practice because apparently he's out of shape. I mean, what is the upside here? Your defense gets back to a wish version of what it was or what we thought it would be.
Yep.
For me, Cleveland can confirm will pick in the top 5 of next year's draft. May do it twice. Because the upside is you do have Jacksonville's pick next year. And, well, they're the next team we talk about on this list.
Hal Duval. That guy. I don't know what to think about Liam Cohen as a head coach.
I think he's a goober.
He is a goober. He's absolutely a goober. He is. I don't know. Like he's a non-serious person. Like I look at him and go, I can't see you as a strong leader of men. But maybe maybe he's fine. Maybe he'll be a player's coach and guys will love him and whatever.
All right, so how did you...
Maybe he's a Nick Sirianni kind of guy.
How did you feel about them giving up their first-round pick next year?
I mean, I hated it because to me it was a big risk for nothing, for essentially what I think is going to be nothing. I don't foresee Travis Hunter coming in and with Brian Thomas immediately flipping Trevor Lawrence into the quarterback that we all thought he was going to be.
I think Travis Hunter's really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to make you hate that trade more than you did.
Okay.
Let's just say, for argument's sake, rose-colored glasses, remember. Let's say you think they sweep the Titans and the Colts. That's 4 wins.
Mm-hmm.
They play the Panthers and the Jets at home. Would you like to hear the rest of their schedule?
Do tell.
So, obviously, you got 2 with the Texans. I don't think you're winning either one of those. They play the Chiefs, the Chargers, the Rams, the Seahawks, the Cardinals, the Bengals, the 49ers, the Raiders, and the Broncos. That's the schedule of a team that just traded their first-round pick next year.
Good for you.
I cannot wait for you to tell me which one of those games that, short of they're allowed to play with 15 guys, they could actually win.
Right.
You're at a talent deficit to every team I said. And I'll be honest with you, I don't think you're better than the Jets. I don't think you're better than the Panthers. I don't think you're better than the Titans or the Colts. You might be equivalent to any of them. I don't think you're better. I don't think we're just going to chalk this up to, yep, you're going to win that one. I could see the Jacksonville Jaguars going 2-15 and have traded the number 1 pick in this next draft. I swear to you, I know that sounds crazy right now because you got the Saints and the Browns and the Giants and all these other teams, and there's an influx of talent in Jacksonville. You got Trevor Lawrence, but what if it doesn't work? If Trevor Lawrence just is what Trevor Lawrence is, you're going to go 4-13 or worse.
Mm-hmm.
And you dealt away the pick next year because you let somebody's kid take over your organization. You let Joey Gladstone and his goofy gopher puppet show up and take over your franchise. And he went, I want Travis Hunter at all costs. Cool, it'll cost you next year's one. Deal. What did he just say? I feel like that's how that went in the room. When it was like draft day. When he walked in and said, we traded for the number 1 pick. What'd you give up? Our one this year. And our one next year. And our one the year after that. And everybody loses their minds. Are you smoking crack? Yeah, Jacksonville is.
You potentially, you potentially traded in Mason Graham and T.J. Parker for Travis Hunter.
Oh, I'll do you one worse than that.
You better hope.
You may have traded the chip that would have been Arch Manning. Or whichever quarterback everybody's losing their mind about next year, which probably could have reset your franchise. Because there's no telling what a team needing a quarterback would be willing to give up to get there. You gave that up for a guy that I'm not even sure what position he actually plays.
Right.
I think he'll play either one really well. Not sure he can play both well, but I think you're going to try that. Look, this is the other team. I don't have rose-colored glasses for you. Because even if the Trevor Lawrence thing works, he's still got to beat Pat Mahomes, Matthew Stafford, Justin Herbert, Sam Darnold, Kyler Murray, Joe Burrow, Brock Purdy, Geno Smith, and Bo Nix. Mm-hmm. That's not easy. That's one of the tougher schedules that I've seen. And you're doing it with no high side of losing games. It's just it's hard for me to wrap my brain around.
Yep. Jacksonville Jaguars, not good either. Got the Colts, Titans, Saints, all talentless as well. We'll give you some bright spots for them. Coming up next here on ESPN Asheville.
ESPN Asheville.
And we're clear.
Thank you.
Your mountain weather forecast.
Still a bit of damp weather around this afternoon. Sunshine mixed with a lot of clouds. Temperatures will get into the upper 70s and heads up for a few showers, thunderstorms. They may be scattered around right through this evening. After midnight, they'll probably taper off just a bit. 58, the overnight low. Thursday morning, some fog and then sunshine. A few clouds and mild up to about 85. From the Weather Channel, I'm meteorologist Ray Staging.
This report is sponsored by Macy's Backstage. What will you find at Macy's Backstage? How about essential warm weather styles, just $30 and under, like dresses, shoes and bags, men's, and even kids' looks. Find the latest trends, new arrivals, and great prices at a Macy's Backstage store near you.
Do you disregard people's personal space? Sitting next to people in public, even if there are tons of open seats? Do people ask, how do you sleep at night? Then you should get a mattress from Mattress Firm. They can help anyone sleep. There's still time. Come to Mattress Firm's Memorial Day sale and get a queen mattress and adjustable base for just $499.99. Get matched at Mattress Firm. Sleep at night. Restrictions apply. See store or website for details.
Here's Comedians and Sketchers Getting Comfortable, presented by Hands-Free Skechers Slip-Ins.
Hey, I'm Bobby Slayton, and I'm here with my pal, comedian, and Skechers ambassador, Mr. Howie Mandel.
Why did it take so long to invent something as amazing as Slip-Ins? I know it seems simple, but it took Skechers to invent a better pair of shoes.
Yep, with Skechers Slip-Ins, you just step it and go. You don't have to touch your shoes. And by the way, Slip-Ins are for the whole family, men, women, and kids. In all your favorite Skechers styles, find Skechers Slip-Ins at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
The new iHeart app just looks better.
The best feature of a car radio on the app.
It's the presets.
Super easy.
And thank you for keeping it free.
Get in on what everyone's talking about and get the new and improved free iHeartRadio app today.
iHeartRadio.
In the aftermath of Hurricane Helene, we found out a lot of things about our community. We saw neighbors helping neighbors, and we learned in desperate times one of the best things to have around is a redneck with a chainsaw.
Not just a chainsaw, boy, just country boys in general. When you live in these mountains, you figure it out. Like, you make stuff happen.
After answering the calls for help that they heard on the radio, the Chainsaw Brothers are still here, making it happen the right way. Fair, insured, and local. Need tree help? Call the Chainsaw Brothers. 316-1013. 316-1013.
At Ingles Weather, we're celebrating Friday Night Rivals, televising college basketball.
Young still covered up?
Fest to semi-pro soccer, or taking you out to the ball game at your minor league park.
I'm going to tell him you did that and watch him punch you in the face.
Low prices. love the savings.
There was a story yesterday about a tree guy who got hung up in a tree and had to be rescued by the fire department.
Experience the Parks Promise.
We made a lot of jokes on the morning show about it being Cody.
Hendersonville.com.
The Sportsocracy.
You are a regular nuclear meltdown. You better cool off.
We're back in the Sportsocracy on ESPN Asheville. It's a Fatal Flaw Wednesday. Talentless Indianapolis.
I don't think Indianapolis is talentless. I think they're quarterbackless. There's a huge difference in those two.
Well, they are definitely quarterbackless because, well, they have Anthony Richardson and Daniel Jones. Oh, let's just throw Riley Leonard in there as well.
Yeah, you have three quarterbacks. They're all mobile. I'm not sure one of them can throw.
I got 3 Paxton Lynches. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, the Colts, it's not hard to figure out. You drafted the wrong quarterback. And I would say it was not predictable, except we told you this was coming the day you did it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't actually mind the Colts roster. I just am dumbfounded at how bad you are at quarterback.
I mean, if you added a quarterback to the weapons
they could be good.
They have assembled.
They could be really good.
Between Jonathan Taylor at running back, Michael Pittman, Alec Pierce, Josh Downs, and A.D. Mitchell, those 4 guys, that's a solid wide receiver core. Then you throw in Tyler Warren on top of it. Like that's like an all-star-ish cast of weapons. Problem is you don't have anybody throwing to them. You've got a lot of good weapons, but nobody to uncork it.
Kelvin Joyner,
Anthony can uncork it. He'll just hit the scoreboard.
Yeah, he'll hit Pat McAfee in his box behind the end zone. Kelvin Joyner asked, is there any chance that Danny Dimes is the next quarterback to escape New York and get better? I don't think so. I mean, I think he can be a passable NFL starter, but just look who you're going up against.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think so. I always saw the talent in Sam Darnold. I'm not going to say I saw the talent necessarily in Geno Smith. I saw the potential. I just didn't think anybody was going to take the time to get to it. Yeah. Geno was always hyper accurate. We used to say when he was at West Virginia, that kid could throw a screen pass better than I could hand it to you. That was always there. I don't see it with Daniel Jones at all. And he can't read a defense. Him reading a defense is like me trying to read a book in Mandarin. Are those words? That just looks like squigglies. Like, I don't know what any of that says.
To me, Daniel Jones just feels like the forever bridge quarterback.
Yeah,
if you're a struggling franchise, you'll bring him on just because. I mean, here's the Indianapolis Colts.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you're doing it right here. They bring him in because, he's good enough if Anthony continues to be terrible. And then guess what next year? We're going to draft a quarterback.
Yeah, he's the lifeboat for a roster that's pretty good. If Anthony Richardson comes out in his first 4 weeks and just couldn't hit water off a bridge, they go to Daniel Jones trying to save the season.
Now, are the Tennessee Titans set at quarterback now with Cam Ward?
Yes. The high side is I don't think that's even debatable. I grew to love Cam Ward more and more and more and more. Do I think he's elite? No. I think he can be a top 15-ish quarterback in the NFL, and you can win with that. The win for for Tennessee, their fatal flaw is talent, just like all the other teams that we have said here.
Weapons.
Can you find guys? Can you slot guys in? I'll give you an example. I think we all know what Calvin Ridley is. He's a legit high-end 2 that's masquerading as a 1. I don't think you're going to get squat out of Tyler Lockett. If you do, great for you. It doesn't mean much to me. My question is, did you actually get anything out of Chimere Dike and out of Alec Ayumanor? If one of those guys can show that they have high-level, starting-level potential, and the line comes together, you've invested a lot in this line for it to look the way it does. But Kevin Zeitler and Skoronski, Dan Moore on the outside, if that line looks like it can be a legit NFL line, and you see that you got something out of a couple of these young guys in terms of weapons, I'll call this a good year.
I'm glad that we did these two teams back to back, because now I'm looking at Cam Ward and the mixture of the offensive lines between Indianapolis and Tennessee. If you had the weapons of Indianapolis in Tennessee, that could be a scary team.
That could be a really good team.
Right. But you don't but you've I don't want to necessarily say you've whiffed at every turn here, but
they have.
Maybe they have. Maybe
they have. That's a fine way to say that. You traded A.J. Brown for Traylon Burks, straight up.
Yep.
I mean, I get it. There was money involved there. You had to pay A.J. Brown. I don't care if A.J. Brown cost $200 million and Traylon Burke was free. You still would have gotten robbed in that.
Right. You went after Tony Pollard when he was hot name on the market, and that just hasn't – he's not been the impact running back that you thought maybe you were getting.
They're fine. There's nothing to write home about, but you've got pieces.
Yeah. All right, now tell us about the Saints.
Okay. The Saints are – Tay did not like the fact that we called them talentless. Your roster 1 to 22 is better than who? I'll wait. Now, if you're going 1 to 22, you're not. It will not take all 5 fingers on your hand to get to where you're getting to. Now, here's why I don't care. The Saints coaching hire, the whole process was weird. It was weird. It felt like they didn't really have a direction at first, and then when they got locked into Kellen Moore, it was, we will wait as long as we have to, and we will give you whatever you want. I have it on good authority that he was basically told this first year, all I'm doing is clearing your mistakes.
Yep.
Clearing the mistakes that you have made that do not fit my scheme whatsoever. I'm going to make an analogy. Tank and I are not very smart, but we do know football. If all of a sudden the powers that be at iHeart came to us and said, we want you to keep doing your show, but now it's not a show about sports anymore, it's a show about polka. It's going to take us some time to figure that out.
Right.
Because I don't know squat about polka.
Uh-uh.
It's going to take some time. That's where New Orleans is at. You have the worst quarterback room in the NFL, and it is not all that close. I mean, and I like Tyler Shuck. He's the head of the snake. Your weapons are not good. Chris Olave scares me to death because of the injury history. Rashid Shaheed's coming off an injury. Your offensive line is beat to blue blazes, and you got a rookie injury-prone quarterback back behind that. You got some guys on defense. How old's Cameron Jordan?
35?
He's 35. And he's getting ready to be 36. How old's DeMario? He'll be 36 before the start of the year. How old's DeMario Davis?
33?
He's 36.
Oh, boy. Okay.
How old's Tyrann Mathieu?
I'd say he's in that 33 range.
He's 33.
Mm-hmm.
That's a very old core for a team that's not very good. Look, you've been screwed by Mickey Loomis for years. I think he's one of the weirdest GMs in the NFL. He spends money where it doesn't make sense. I think Kellen Moore has a lot of sway here. And you're going to see this roster turn, and you're going to see it turn over the course of this year, because you mark my words. And I'm going to throw out a couple names to you, and you watch that you're going to start seeing more touches to these guys as the year goes on. Devin Neal, the running back out of Kansas, Bub Means, Kevin Austin Jr. Just remember I said that. Because Brandon Cooks doesn't do anything for you. Oh, it's a cute reunion because you drafted him. He's a shadow of what he used to be. Rashid Shaheed was a speed burner receiver that's coming off a catastrophic injury. He's not going to be as fast as he was. Nobody ever is. Even if you lost half a step, that's a big deal for the way he plays. Watch Kellen Moore start identifying the pieces that are going to be pieces moving forward. That's the highlight for the Saints. You have a 1-year scrimmage because nobody expects anything from you. From the top down. Gail Benson has no expectation of this team. She doesn't. It's, Kellen, we believe in you for the long haul. And I think for the first time in a long time, you're in good hands. Because I think Kellen Moore is a really smart guy, and he's really smart at looking at defense. Yep, I don't do that. So let's hand that to Brandon Staley and just let him do it. You're not built to play that defense. So either Brandon Staley's going to completely change everything I've ever seen him do, or he's going to change you. And it makes way more sense the latter way than it does the previous way. That's a blip year.
Just adding on to the insult to the injury here. You didn't even mention in your rundown of the old players Alvin Kamara, who is 29 years old and has hit the dreaded 2,100 touch mark.
It is a super old roster.
Yep.
I mean, look, and all I said there, everything I just said is not an opinion; it's a fact. The age of all these guys is a fact. I want you to be good. We got a lot of Saints fans that listen to the show, and I love you all dearly. But I mean, the reason that I recognize this, and I think it was Who Dat Fam said that said this in the YouTube chat. I just watched the Jets go through this. Not less than a dozen years ago. I watched the Jets have a really old roster. They had no quarterback, and then they went through all these changes, and it was just chasing your tail. I just feel like Kellen Moore is going to get you on the right track way quicker than the Jets did.
Yep. Red Sea wants to know, should he jump on Devin Neal in the last round of fantasy drafts?
No, and here's why I say that. By the time he's actually doing anything, you'll have already cut him. Start watching the snap counts, and that'll tell you when it's coming. Because you will start seeing these guys they'll go from 2 touches a week to 5 to 8, and then you start getting into the snap percentages, and they're playing 30% of the snaps. That's when the turn's going to happen. And Tay had a good point. These older guys, they're becoming rotational players. Cam Jordan's snap count's gone down every single year, I think. I would have to check that, but I'm pretty sure it's gone down every single year for the last 5.
Well, I mean, you got to manage it. Like at some point, he's going to hit that wall. We all hit that wall once we get older. Jeremy, you're finding.
I'm not finding anything. I'm as good as I ever was.
Stop that.
I'm as good. I'm eating fish again.
The noises you make when you get up out of that chair do not follow that path of thinking.
Well, it's a lot of person to move, Tank.
It is a lot of person to move. That's all I'm saying. At some point, we all hit our wall, some of us earlier than others. Cam Jordan is 36 years old and still trying to play one of the hardest, most physically demanding jobs out there as an edge rusher in the NFL. They're definitely going to have to manage his snaps better. All right, what's our next tier in the Fatal Flaw Wednesday?
So the next tier for me would be you have some hope, but man, it's going to have to go a lot of the right way. Those teams would be the Miami Dolphins, the New England Patriots, the Las Vegas Raiders, the Denver Broncos, the Seattle Seahawks. You're not going to like this. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Atlanta Falcons, the Chicago Bears, and the Minnesota Vikings. You all have your fatal flaws, and it's almost always the same thing. Your fatal flaw is you're counting on your scouting department to have nailed a lot of things. The team I want to start with here is the Minnesota Vikings.
Okay.
Before last year, had you ever considered Brian Flores to be like some wonderkin defensive coordinator? Did you think he was a top 3 guy in the NFL?
I mean, he was at one point. Isn't that how he got the Miami job?
He was the defensive coordinator for the Patriots, and Bill Belichick called the defense. I always thought it was odd that he got that people would say these things about him of, oh, he's so good at this, he's so good at that. Let's just be really honest about what you've actually got here. Points allowed per year, the 5 years he's been or the last 5 years where he has been a head coach or a defensive coordinator. 32nd, 6th, 16th, 13th, 5th. Gets better. But in large part, you've had 2 really good years. And everything else has been either mediocre or bad.
I was going to say, I'm curious if there's a commonality between the personnel in those top 10 years.
They were 5 years apart in 2 different cities.
This is when I gained one.
They were 5 years apart in 2 different cities.
Right.
You know what the commonality is? Your schedule was brutally easy both years. I don't think you're going to. I don't think at the end of this year we're going to be looking at Brian Flores the same way. And it should tell you something that no team in the NFL, he wasn't a finalist for a job. The closest he came was the Jets, and he was at best the 4th backup. There's a reason for that. A, he comes with all the litigation that happened years ago. Mm-hmm. B, people just don't view him that way. He's not viewed as this. The defense that he plays, where he's got guys standing up and guys move around and some of them rush and some of them don't, that's all well and good until teams figure it out. Do you know what it becomes when teams figure it out? This defense is not new. He did not create this. This was a college thing that we saw years ago. You know why teams stopped doing it? Because teams figured out really quick, when you're trying to disguise things this much, guys are way out of position. All I got to do is quick hit you, and guys are super out of position. And I think you're going to see that this year when they get into some more shootouts. So they're not going to be able to score the way they did last year. If you're the most pie-in-the-sky Minnesota Vikings homer there's ever been that wears around a Viking helmet, how good do you actually think J.J. McCarthy can be in year 1? Not for the long term. How good can a kid be that has not thrown a competitive pass in 16 months? How good is that kid going to be in year 1? Top what?
I would think 20. If he's inside the top 20, you've had a massive year.
All right, so 20 was the number I had in my head.
Right.
Let's just take a fun jaunt down memory lane. You do realize that they have to play Caleb Williams twice, Jared Goff twice, Jordan Love twice. All of those guys would be 19 or higher. Caleb Williams is debatable, but talent-wise, he's better than J.J. McCarthy. Mm-hmm. The other quarterbacks they play are Jalen Hurts, Jaden Daniels, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Michael Penix. Hey, there's one. That could be fun. Aaron Rodgers, that could be fun. Or Mason Rudolph if they don't wind up signing him. Whatever Cleveland's doing. Dak Prescott, probably Jackson Dart, Sam Darnold, Justin Herbert. You're at a gross disadvantage at quarterback in damn near every game you play. So your defense better be really good. Mm-hmm. The high side for Minnesota is J.J. McCarthy's the guy. To me, J.J. McCarthy is your fatal flaw if you're the Minnesota Vikings. Because this whole offense is predicated on Justin Jefferson. I'm not sure McCarthy can do it for you. And the schedule makers did you 0 favors.
And I don't know that is your secondary any good? Are any of those guys any good? I've been through the Byron Murphy years. So, I mean, he's good-ish at times. Ambry Thomas,
I don't buy the secondary if that's what you're asking.
Right, like none of it feels good.
I mean, and look, I think they will
All
be
of it
fine.
Feels gross.
And I think they'll be fine. I don't see this as a high-level competitive team. Mm-hmm. I think they're at the best case scenario they sneak in as the 7 in the NFC. Because, by the way, did you notice in the no real hope for 25 tier, did you notice we only had one NFC team? Well, we had 2, the Giants and the Saints.
Right.
The other 14 teams all have hope, and I'll be honest with you, I think I could make a case that all of them are more hopeful than you.
Okay. You're in the Sportsocracy, and this is ESPN Asheville. 92.9 FM, 880 AM at 1400. We will continue the discussion of the fatal flaws of the 2025 NFL season on this NFL schedule release date. Don't forget, tonight on the YouTubes, streaming live reactions from our respective homes on the YouTube only. So check that out as we all find out where our teams will be going and when. Apparently my team's going to be playing the Rams, maybe it looks like, in L.A. on Thanksgiving. It'll be only the second time in my life. But
hopefully it goes better than the first time.
Yeah, the first time didn't go well. I don't want to talk about it.
The first time you allowed Tony Romo to have one of the best games of his career.
That's right. Again, like I said, don't want to talk about it. Jerk. You're in the Sportsocracy. It's ESPN Asheville. We'll be right back.
ESPN Asheville.
Clear.
Thank you.
Your mountain weather forecast.
Still a bit of damp weather around this afternoon. Sunshine mixed with a lot of clouds. Temperatures will get into the upper 70s and heads up for a few showers, thunderstorms. They may be scattered around right through this evening. After midnight, they'll probably taper off just a bit. 58, the overnight low. Thursday morning, some fog and then sunshine. A few clouds and mild up to about 85. From the Weather Channel, I'm meteorologist Ray Staging.
This report is sponsored by True Greene. Summer is better with True Greene. Get the best lawn at the best price. For a limited time, get 75% off your first treatment.
We'll start with the Bears in the next segment.
And let the pros handle the work while you
and we've got a
enjoy
super
the
chat
results.
for the Bears.
Restrictions apply.
I held it until we talked about Chicago.
How do you spot the all-new Nissan Rogue Rock Creek? Here's a hint. It's got all-terrain
I'll be
tires,
back.
a tubular roof rack you can't miss, and it's tough inside and out with lava red detail. You'll also find it in its natural habitat, climbing mountains, attacking rugged trails, and never backing down from any adventure. The first ever Nissan Rogue Rock Creek.
Intelligent all-wheel drive cannot prevent collisions or provide enhanced traction in all conditions. Always monitor traffic and weather conditions. Always secure cargo. Heavy loading of the vehicle with cargo, especially on the roof, will affect the handling and stability of the vehicle.
One of life's greatest mysteries has finally been solved.
Who let the dogs out? Spruce!
It's Spruce, the new hard-working, worry-free weed and grass killer that's safe for use around people and pets. When used as directed, spray the leaves for visible results in just 1 hour and dead weeds in just 1 day. You spray, they play. Weeds die by the next day. Find Spruce wherever weed killers are sold.
The peace lily is so last year. Hey, has anyone worked with fiddlemix?
Shelby's popular flower shop is in full bloom.
We just got a request for an arrangement that evokes air. Who's up for that challenge? No?
She needs to hire a floral designer to nip foliage faux pas in the bud.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Our advanced matching helps find talented candidates so you can connect with them fast. Redeem your $75 credit at Indeed.com/credit. Terms and conditions apply.
For over 40 years, American Electric has been family-owned and operated right here in WNC. With 3 generations and over 100 dedicated teammates, they are powered to serve our community. Homes and businesses can trust American Electric. Visit a-americanelectric.com.
Looking to buy or sell in Asheville? At Clarissa Sells WNC with eXp Realty, we're proud to be the #1 real estate team in Buncombe County. Give us a call, 828-774-6343. We're here for what matters most, you.
Did you know Ingalls only sells USDA Choice and Prime cuts of meat? Maybe it's time to reward yourself. Our butchers cut all our meat fresh in the store every day. Grass-fed, organic, you name it. Not only that, we'll even cut it to order just the way you like it. And we grind meat fresh in the store multiple times a day. It's all in the bag. That's the best meat in town for the best folks in town. Ingalls, low prices, love the savings.
Wheels for Meals of Western North Carolina is doing it again. Their next car show for a cause is coming up Saturday, May 24th. Cars Against Breast Cancer at the Advanced Auto Parts in Oakley Plaza, 801 Fairview Road. It'll be an afternoon of family-friendly fun with a 50-50 and raffle prizes, including a PS5 and the grand prize, a week in a condo in Myrtle Beach, Tennessee, or Virginia. There'll be live music, face painting, and games for the kids. Join Wheels for Meals Western North Carolina, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Saturday, May the 24th at Oakley Plaza. Bear Smokehouse Barbecue in Asheville has 2 things that all Sportsocracy fans crave: bold flavors and big portions. Oh, yeah. And they've got the balls. Bear's famous Bear Balls are packed with mac and cheese, pulled pork, cornbread, and deep fried and then topped with bacon and cheese sauce. This is the place to be. Live music on Saturdays and the first Sunday of every month. They partner with the Guitar Bar to host Mr. Jimmy's Barbecue Blues. Bear Smokehouse Barbecue in downtown Asheville and South Asheville.
Buying or selling a home doesn't have to be stressful. Let me, Clarissa Marshall with eXp Realty, your local real estate expert, guide you every step of the way. Whether you're searching for your dream home, looking to sell quickly, or exploring investment opportunities, I've got the experience and the tools.
And I don't make noises when I get up and down, you bat
Clarissa
rastard.
Marshall with eXp Realty at 874-6343. Let's make your real estate dreams a reality. I'm your trusted realtor.
Still a young, virile man.
And making dreams come true.
This is JW.
Totally.
Parks Ford of Hendersonville. I would like to introduce you to some of our very own.
Now I'm going to send your wife a text and say, please take a picture of this young, virile man at 11:47 p.m. on Thursday night.
The county.
And we'll see you curled up in the corner of your couch with your belly hanging out going,
Ew. It's CommunityHeroes.com. Experience the Parks Promise.
Virile.
Ford Hendersonville.
I am more virile than you.
100% you are. I never said you weren't.
F. Waynesville, W225 CJ Candler, the #1 preset in your car, and the new and improved iHeartRadio.
If we're competing for virility on this show,
Now,
I win.
your chance to win $1,000. Just
good thing we're not.
On our website. Fun. That's fun. Enter it now.
Go to ESPNAVL.com to play, and good luck.
The Sportsocracy.
I kind of moved the opener button and the cutscene button because I keep hitting the wrong one at the wrong time. Gross.
Just earlier.
They are mature, actually. You just have to get to know them better.
Your lunchtime dose of dumbassery. Live from the Ingalls studio.
And welcome into the Sportsocracy. ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, 1400. We're heard everywhere you go on the iHeartRadio app and seen everywhere on the YouTubes. Just go to thesportsocracy.com, click that live video link, subscribe to the channel so you can join us in the chat.
And you can hear what we talk about in breaks, which in the last break we determined that I am the more virile of the two on this here program, and that doesn't mean much.
No. It definitely does not mean a whole lot.
Hey, here's all I can say. I am a 38-year-old man that watches those commercials on the beach in the bathtub and go, I don't need that. So it's good enough for me.
Yay.
My hair's not falling out, and I don't need a pill for amorous times. So good for me. That's win.
I only have one of those things. I still consider it a win, though, because the hair's been gone for a while. I've gotten used to that one.
Yeah, you tapped out on hair in 1997.
Yes.
I think you should use that Walton Goggin line of my hairline's not receding, it's holding the line.
That's right.
I've had the same hairline since I was 7 years old. It's just standing firm.
The brave soldiers that still stand there need to be commended. It is a Fatal Flaw Wednesday here at the Sportsocracy as we await the NFL schedule release tonight. The full schedule will come out. We've already found out about some international games happen. We know the matchups that I did find it rather odd that the Minnesota Vikings have to do back-to-backs on the road across the ocean.
Yeah, that's not helpful for old J.J. McCarthy.
Yeah. Got to play in Dublin and then turn around and play in London the next week. I mean, the travel to and fro between the two games is not going to be bad. I'm curious what that does to the body once you've been over there for a couple of weeks. I mean, just something that I didn't really care to think about last year when Jacksonville had to do it. But something for a rookie to deal with is going to be interesting to see. We are in the some hope tier of teams here on the Fatal Flaws breakdown. And, Jeremy, you wanted to talk Chicago Bears. We had a super chat from Soaring Eagle on the Bears.
Here comes the money. Here we go. Money talk. Here comes the money.
And he says, can the Bears solve their fatal flaw? Hopefully after I saw that video of the Pope walking out of the Bulls anthem I sent to Jeremy's Twitter. Okay, so...
yeah, it was the Pope's introduction, and it had the, and now, from North Carolina, with the Pope. It was really funny. I'm not going to lie. It was really funny. Standing 5'4" with a hat that's 9 feet tall.
Leo the 14th.
Pope America. In a past life, I could have been like a really fat Paul Heyman.
I could see it.
I do the Yardbarker thing really well.
Mm-hmm.
It drives Amy crazy. It's her office on the other side of the wall, and she's like, what are you yelling about? The mic's right in front of you. We pay a lot of money for these things. You don't have to scream. But I do. Chicago's an interesting team to me because their fatal flaw is who they are. I've seen Chicago set up like this so many times. How many times have they hired the coach that's going to be the right one? How many times have they drafted, signed, traded for, whatever the case may be, the quarterback that's going to be the one? It never pans out. For the last 40 years, it has panned out one time with Rex Grossman and Lovie Smith. Look, I don't believe in curses. I don't believe in ghosts. I don't believe in any of that nonsensical. There is something to the Bears may just be cursed by the devil himself.
Okay.
If this year
ever was going to change, it's got to start now, right? You went out and you got the guy who put together and orchestrated and put together the number one offense in the NFL last year. If it's not going to be him, then nobody can do it. They hire Ben Johnson. He's widely accepted as, well, if anybody is going to fix it, then it's going to be him. Whether you think Caleb Williams needs to be fixed or not, the Chicago Bears offensive history needs to be fixed. And I'm struggling to see a way that it doesn't change this year. With building up the offensive line and all of that, the only thing it hinges on to me is Caleb's development.
I've been gotten by the Bears a lot of times.
Uh-huh.
I will say I am treading this one a little more lightly because we do know Ben, and we believe in Ben. I think Ben's a fantastic offensive mind.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know what he is as a head coach. You've got a lot of personality in that room. Divine Comedy just said it in the YouTube chat. Ben Johnson's proven as an OC, not a head coach. He's not wrong. There are a lot of ways this could go wrong. There are ways they could go right. I find the Bears to be really intriguing because they're going to have to do things that they've never really done before. I think for the Bears to be as good as we think they are, Caleb Williams has to be the first 4,000-yard passer they've ever had.
Yes.
If he's not, then I don't think any of this matters. Because I don't think they're good enough defensively to deal with the Jaden Daniels and the Jalen Hurts and the Matthew Staffords and on and on and on and on.
They're going to be pretty good defensively, though. I mean, you are going to have to generate some points to win these games. But I don't think they're going to be in a whole bunch of shootouts. Do you?
I didn't say there's going to be shootouts. I'm saying
okay.
I think that defense gets a lot of credit where it may not deserve it. I think they're good. I don't think they're great.
Okay. All right, who do you want to talk about next? Atlanta?
I mean, I gave you the list. You tell me the team you want. I got them all pulled up in front of me here. So this is in no particular order.
In no particular order. Let's go to Atlanta next.
Atlanta, I don't want to say every team falls on their quarterback. So, yes, Michael Penix is a big question mark. I'm not worried about the offense. Your fatal flaw is you have put a lot of new pieces on that defense, and how do they all come together? Look, I love James Pierce. We talked about that through the entire draft process. I think it was draft nerds overthinking themselves and wanting to be ahead of the curve. Well, James Pierce is not a good guy. And he's a little angular. He wins all the time in the SEC. I think that part of this team is going to improve. The question is how much. And as you look at who they're going to have to get ahead of, look, I'm not wild about this Tampa Bay team. You still have 2 tackles that can keep Baker upright. Mm-hmm. Then it falls on that back half, which I like. I love that they added 2 safeties in the draft. I like a lot of what Atlanta's doing, but there's a lot of moving pieces here. What do you think the high side is for Atlanta's defense in year 1?
What do you mean the high side? What?
How good can that team be defensively in year 1? I mean, because you got to understand, look at how many players they have that were either not on this roster or did not play high-end snaps last year. They're going to be asked to do a lot. Mm-hmm. Secondary is largely the same. You exchanged Justin Simmons for Jordan Fuller. I mean, it's a downgrade, but it's not so significant that I really care because everything else basically stayed the same.
Right.
Now you're going to have some form of Ebba KT, Jalen Walker, James Pierce, Leonard Floyd step up and be the pass rushers. That is 4 really solid pieces. I don't think there's a 1, but I think there are 4 solid pieces. Mm-hmm. You also get back Braylon Trice, who did not play last year. You added Divine Diablo. I don't really care. It's another Atlanta, and their fondness for athletic linebackers that don't do anything overly well will never cease to amaze me. Mm-hmm. But then that front, the front just doesn't do much for me.
Well, it's bringing in all the situational pieces, right? I feel like everybody's trying to go down that path of the Philadelphia Eagle blueprint of I don't need to just have one guy who can get after quarterbacks, right? We see how that works in a place like Cleveland. Like Myles Garrett's awesome, but overall the defense suffers because he's the only closer that we have. So if I have 4 guys that could be the equivalent of 2 Myles Garretts, or maybe 1.5 Myles Garretts, then I'll know I've hit that mark, right? I've gathered all the pieces. I'm not worried about running anybody's wheels off. We just want to be so multiple. And Raheem Morris is a pretty good defensive leader.
I agree.
And he's got my trust in I'm going to have this be a respectable unit, but I don't know if they have elite talent. Not yet, anyway. I would say their best high side would be, scratching the top 10 as a unit.
That's about where I was, is that I think you can be that good, but I think you're going to have to be. Mm-hmm. I think you're going to have to be, or you're going to be in so many shootouts that you're asking Michael Penix to do something that's not really fair. Now, you don't have to be great because you play in the worst division in the league by 7 miles. But I do think Atlanta's the best team in this division. Conversely, I'm going to ask you about their division mate, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and I want to see, just because I'm curious, the fatal flaw of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is what?
I still go back to the coaching. I still feel like the coaching is the fatal flaw of this team.
Todd Bowles is not a bad answer. It's not my answer, but it's not a bad answer.
Because I don't really think that we have that many giant gaping holes on this team.
Really?
It's just I don't know what you're. I mean, you don't have that key pass rusher. Like I don't have the guy. I don't have a Myles Garrett. I don't even have a Brian Burns on this team. Maybe it's Hassan Reddick, but as you pointed out, that didn't go well.
Yeah, you can count on that all you want to. It's not. I just look at your defense and go, it's not good. It's not good. At the end of the day, that defense is not good. And I get it. You like some of the situational pieces. You thought the secondary got a little better last year. I still don't think you have a corner that deals with number one receivers. Mm-hmm. I still don't think you have a pass rusher to play the way that Todd Bowles actually wants to. And then I keep coming back to the draft of you took luxury picks when you did not have the luxury to take them. You still have a linebacker that should not be playing in the NFL that's going to be playing high-level snaps for you. You still do not have an edge rusher that I fear at all. Yaya is a good pass rusher. He is not good at anything else. Mm-hmm. The offense will be fine. You're going to be in a ton of shootouts, and you're going to be in a ton of shootouts with Todd Bowles pulling the strings and Baker Mayfield throwing the ball.
Yep.
I don't love that. I do not love that. I think it's a recipe for disaster. I've told you this 1,000 times. Every time you count on Todd Bowles, he will let you down. Mm-hmm. And I feel like now they've become – people keep putting them in a stratosphere that they don't belong in. I hear them with the Eagles, the Commanders, the Lions, the Rams. They're closer to the Rams. I think those top three are there's a line of demarcation there.
Well, but that's why they keep getting put into that situation, because the NFC is so top heavy with those three teams that's kind of how thin it gets after that.
But see what you just said is what I so patently disagree with. You just said it's top heavy.
Mm-hmm.
It's good at the top. Top heavy means it gets really bad. It doesn't get really bad. There are two teams in this conference that I don't think have a shot of making the playoffs. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
It's the Saints and the Giants. End of message. That's not top heavy. And
to me, top heavy is if I have three teams that could be, 14-3.
I don't believe any of those teams will be 14-3, so that probably doesn't hurt anything.
And the next closest team you have to that is 10-7.
I like
that's a pretty big gap to me.
I like the NFC West way better than you do. Just off that one line, I like the Seahawks, the Cardinals, and the Rams way better than that. I don't think the three high-end teams – I don't think there's a team in the NFC that's going to go 14-3. If anybody does, it's Philadelphia, and then Washington and Detroit are battling for the 2 and the 3.
Mm-hmm.
But this is a really deep conference where you're not getting layups. In the AFC, you get layups. You play the Jets, you play the Browns and the Steelers if they don't have a quarterback, and the entire division of the AFC South that doesn't reside in Texas. You get layup games. You don't in the NFC.
No, you get the Giants and the Saints, and that's all you got.
And you play the Saints twice, and that's it. So I don't buy into Tampa Bay. I think you have a series of not necessarily fatal flaws, but you put them together and they become one. You have a gunslinger quarterback. You have a coach that I've never believed in, and a defense that I don't buy at all. Mm-hmm. You put those together, they form an unholy trinity of, I think they're going to let you down. I mean, you know what? I want to save this for tonight. When the schedule comes out,
yeah,
I think when you see this schedule in front of you and go, this is what we have to do week in and week out, I think you're going to see what I'm talking about. But you'll have to join us on YouTube tonight for that.
Maybe so. You're in the Sportsocracy, and this is ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. There is one team in the NFC South that we have not talked about yet. And shouldn't we have?
Maybe for you, but for me, this is we're in the
Really? Okay. You're in the Sportsocracy, and this is ESPN Asheville.
The quest to regain the division.
You're clear.
So be here.
All right, so do you have the list of
2025 season?
Who do you have on your list to talk about in order?
Got it. Seattle, Denver, Las Vegas, New England, and Miami.
All right, so you're missing a couple. I may not have said them.
Join us for Atlanta Braves
All right,
baseball
so
all season
this is
on
this is in
Asheville's
no particular
#1
order.
sports station, ESPN
Miami,
Asheville.
New England,
This is the
Pittsburgh,
story of the one.
Denver,
As a safety manager at a
Las
manufacturing
Vegas.
plant, he does everything
Did you
he
have all of
can
those?
to keep his coworkers safe.
I did not have Pittsburgh.
Okay.
Use risks to keeping safety
49ers,
supplies in stock.
Seahawks,
And for that, he
Panthers,
relies on Grainger.
Cowboys.
Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe.
Okay.
For Grainger, click Grainger.com or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
How do you spot the all-new Nissan?
If we can get through those, and then I've got
all-terrain tires, a tubular roof rack you can't miss, and it's tough inside and out with lava red detail. You'll also find it in its natural habitat, climbing mountains.
we can get through the ones I just said, and then we've got 4 more. We can really dig in on the higher end teams in the last hour.
Intelligent.
See what we can do.
Try our best. That's all we can.
Heavy loading of the vehicle with cargo, especially on the roof, will affect the handling and stability of the vehicle.
Made for This Mountain exists to empower listeners to rise above their struggles and face the mountain in front of them. So during Mental Health Awareness Month, focus on your emotional well-being. Tune into the podcast and climb that mountain.
You will never be able to change or grow through the thing that you refuse to identify. The thing that you refuse to say, hey, this is my mountain. This is the struggle.
Listen to Made for This Mountain on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart. Open your free iHeart app and search Made for This Mountain.
Wheels for Meals of Western North Carolina is doing it again. Their next car show for a cause is coming up Saturday, May 24th. Cars Against Breast Cancer at the Advanced Auto Parts in Oakley Plaza, 801 Fairview Road. It'll be an afternoon of family-friendly fun with a 50-50 and raffle prizes, including a PS5 and the grand prize, a week in a condo in Myrtle Beach, Tennessee, or Virginia. There'll be live music, face painting, and games for the kids. Join Wheels for Meals Western North Carolina, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Saturday, May the 24th at Oakley Plaza.
I'm Coley Duffy.
I'm Cody Ward.
And
we're the Chainsaw Brothers.
Actually, we're cousins. A few days after lean, we was in the driveway having a couple beers, waiting on the power to come back on. And we heard so many people calling, needing trees removed, and couldn't afford it.
So I called my dad to borrow a chainsaw, and over the next few months, we cleared trees for our neighbors. Our business was born out of wanting to help Western North Carolina get back on our feet.
We are fully insured and licensed. We keep our promises, meaning if we say we're going to be there, we'll be there. In these parts, we live how we were raised.
When you call the Chainsaw Brothers, you're not a customer, you're family. We're good at what we do, and we do it for a reasonable cost.
For all your chainsaw needs, call the Chainsaw Brothers. 828-316-1013. Or find us on Facebook. See how we treat our family.
Are you still covered up with storm damage and debris?
Call us about our daily rates at 828-316-1013. That's 828-316-1013. We're the Chainsaw Brothers, and with our neighbors, we're Western North Carolina strong.
This is J.W. Whitley, General Manager at Parks Ford of Hendersonville. I would like to introduce you to some of our very own Parks Community heroes. Like Trent and Doug, whose first instinct was to fill their trucks with supplies and drive to the areas that were hardest hit in those first hours. Like Spencer, who helped build a bridge out of debris to rescue 7 families after the road was washed away. Nominate your Parks Community Hero today at parkscommunityheroes.com. That's parkscommunityheroes.com. Experience the Parks Promise today at parksfordhendersonville.com.
We're back in the Sportsocracy on ESPN Asheville. It is Fatal Flaw Wednesday, also NFL schedule release day. Tonight we'll have the full live reactions of the full schedule release coming up on the YouTube channel only at 8 p.m. this evening.
Which means we can say the wordy dirties.
That we can.
I fully plan. I'll go ahead and tell you, we're off for the next 4 days. I mean, neither one of us is off. We just will not be on this here program. We're preempted by the Braves tomorrow, and then we're taking an off day on Friday. We do that a lot in the off season. Before anybody says, well, you've done that a lot. Well, look at the rest of the Braves schedule. We don't get a ton of them after this. We take some where's we can get some.
Take the opportunity when we can.
So over the next few days, we're going to put the finishing touches on the Living the Dream tour schedule. We've got a lot of new partners. I've had a lot of people reach out to me in the last few days. We've got a bunch of new sponsors that you'll be hearing about in very short order. And we're going to do some super cool stuff. I'm so excited. I'm looking. It's on my screen now. This is one of those times that I almost feel like the radio czar, because I can see all the things I'm talking about. Nobody else can.
Schedule release tonight at 8 o'clock. Join us on the YouTube stream. It always baffles me how we get some matchups to start out the season. Report is that the first Monday night football game of this season is going to be September the 8th, and it's going to be the Minnesota Vikings and the Chicago Bears. Does that do anything for you?
Meh.
We all watch it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what it is. We'll watch it. All right, do you want to talk about that other team from the NFC South?
I think
Carolina Panthers.
Okay, I'm going to say something, and it's not good. Some people aren't going to like it, but it's true. I think Carolina's closer to Tampa Bay and Atlanta than they are to New Orleans. You think I'm crazy when I say that. I don't think people that argue that realize how bad that defense was last year. It was an atrocity. We saw it up close and personal more than once, and it was not good. They're going to be vastly improved this year. It all falls on Bryce. I tried to save the it falls on the quarterback to as few teams as I could. Carolina's one of those that I have to. Because the defense will be improved. Short of 8 of them get abducted by space aliens, it's going to be better than it was last year. The question is how much and how many of these games are put into in a winnable way. Carolina's one of the schedules I'm the most locked in on seeing tonight. If for nothing else, because it does have something to do with our tour schedule, and I have to plug and play them a handful of times.
Correct.
But I think the schedule matters to them so much because you need certain things to happen. The schedule needs to start slow. You need to get 2 of your first 4 games need to be against lesser quarterbacks because that defense needs to gel. That defense needs to figure each other out because they're going to have 9 new starters next year. And now I'm quantifying Derek Brown there because he barely played last year. And you've got all of these guys coming back in that didn't play together last year. So that will be interesting to me. I think the offense is going to be good. I know that's not a popular opinion, but I do. I liked Tet. Then yes, I'm going to keep calling him Tet because I can't help it. I like him. I like the other receivers on this team. It does scare me that they don't necessarily have the burners. But I think they can do a lot of things. Also, T's and P's to Jonathan Brooks because we hadn't said that on this program yet, I don't think.
No, I don't believe we did.
The source I have says he probably will never play another down for the rest of his life.
That makes sense.
The word I heard was
catastrophic knee injuries.
Yep, you beat me to it. You used the Al Gore word. The injury was catastrophic.
Right. So sad news for him.
For sure, and he's such a good player too.
You said earlier that I give too much credit. Or I guess it was yesterday that I give too much credit to Dave Canales in Tampa Bay because he's a really good coach, and I think we finally got to see it at the end of the year last year. Once Bryce started to get comfortable and started to get more acclimated, and the pieces started to pick it up, you saw the offensive line get more cohesion. You saw, more than just Chuba Hubbard running the ball.
Well,
out at the end of the year, Jalen Coker making plays, and Xavier Legette has. I feel like he's got a pretty high ceiling.
I think he has a high ceiling. He has a low floor. I feel like what you just said about Dave Canales, you put the emphasis on the wrong syllable.
Okay.
I think you give Dave Canales too much credit in Tampa Bay. You said it, but you didn't emphasize it that way.
No, for what Tampa Bay?
Because what it made it sound like the way you said that made it sound like I don't think Dave Canales is a good coach. I think he's a great coach. One of the highest viewed reels we've ever had in the history of social media was me saying that. People telling me how stupid I was. And then about mid-season, they came back through and went, okay, we might have been wrong on that. I love Dave. I think you give him too much credit for what happened in Tampa. He put the pieces together, which is why I think he will be a good coach. It was Liam that I think got it on field to all kind of meld together. What I was saying is that I feel like you kind of denigrate Liam Cohen at the expense of Dave Canales. I kind of do the exact opposite of I give Liam maybe too much credit, and maybe we're both wrong. There's an entire possibility that we're both wrong.
Right. I love Dave, and I'm excited to see where this season goes because they are getting better. I'm just not sure how much better they are. If T-Mac or whatever he wants to call himself has a great year this year, which that nickname's already taken, so I don't think we can call him T-Mac.
Well, I mean, that nickname's taken. It's kind of like retired numbers. It's taken by an NBA player that hadn't been relevant in 15 years. So I think
so
we can
share it.
I think we can put that one back in the hopper.
Is he not in? Is he not in the retired nickname category?
Not to. That's a. You want to talk about a daily draft that we could have at some point in the offseason? Players that that fans talk about that I'll never understand why. Tracy McGrady's in my top 5.
Really?
He was so good for an hour, and then injuries caught up to him, and he was good for like 9 minutes at a time.
He was very good when he was very good. That's the best. That's the best I could say about it.
I like Carolina. I think they have a kind of a scary floor, but I think they have there's a nice upside to this team. Mm-hmm. We're definitely going to talk about them a good bit tonight.
Yes, most definitely. Again, schedule release, live reactions on the YouTube at 8 o'clock tonight. Check us out at thesportsocracy.com. We'll be right back on a Fatal Flaw Wednesday.
ESPN Asheville.
Clear.
Your mountain weather forecast.
Still a bit of damp weather around the Sap.
Be right back.
All right.
Kind of mixed with a lot of clouds. Temperatures will get into the upper 70s and heads up for a few showers, thunderstorms. They may be scattered around right through this evening. After midnight, they'll probably taper off just a bit. 58, the overnight low. Thursday morning, some fog and then sunshine. A few clouds and mild up to about 85. From the Weather Channel, I'm meteorologist Ray Staging.
This report is sponsored by Discover. Guess what? Discover's accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. You heard right, 99%. If you don't think so, maybe it's time to face facts. You're stuck in the past. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report, learn more at discover.com/creditcard.
For 120 years, Ford has been committed to doing the right thing for America. And we're not going anywhere. That's why Ford assembles more vehicles in the U.S. than any other automaker and employs the most hourly auto workers in the country. That's not a boast, it's a pledge to the Americans who drive our vehicles and the capable people who build them, because our values can't be offshored. We do it for the people who make America. Workers, farmers, first responders, communities. As long as America depends on them, they can depend on us. Ford Motor Company. From America, for America.
Based on S&P Global Mobility Calendar Year 2024 U.S. light vehicle production data. Assembled in the USA with domestic and foreign parts. Based on 2024 year-end hourly employment data.
All about the presets.
That is the best new feature. It's like a car radio right on the app. There's a list of what's trending. There's all the podcasts. I love it.
Get in on what everyone's talking about and get the new and improved free iHeartRadio app today.
iHeartRadio.
Buying or selling a home doesn't have to be stressful. Let me, Clarissa Marshall with eXp Realty, your local real estate expert, guide you every step of the way. Whether you're searching for your dream home, looking to sell quickly, or exploring investment opportunities, I've got the experience and the tools to get you the best deal possible. Call me, Clarissa Marshall with eXp Realty at 828-774-6343. Let's make your real estate dreams a reality. I'm your trusted realtor. I'm making moves and making dreams come true.
This is J.W. Whitley, General Manager at Parks Ford of Hendersonville. I would like to introduce you to some of our very own Parks community heroes. Like Trent and Doug, whose first instinct was to fill their trucks with supplies and drive to the areas that were hardest hit.
All right, let's go AFC East. Miami, New England to start here.
families after the road was washed away. Nominate your Parks Community Hero today at parkscommunityheroes.com. That's parkscommunityheroes.com. Experience the Parks Promise today at parksfordhendersonville.com.
Are you there?
This Table, a delicious destination with recipes galore. Need to whip up a dessert, entree, side dish? No problem. The experts from the Ingles Table take you through it step by step with expert tips and advice along the way. Find the Ingles Table at ingles-markets.com or swing by the store and pick up your free copy of the Ingles Table magazine. And let's get cooking. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
The iHeartRadio app now has presets, just like in the car. You're our number one. Make us yours. ESPN Asheville, the mountain's favorite sports station, streaming 24/7. Your home for the Sportsocracy. Weekdays at noon. The Tar Heels and Atlanta Braves baseball. The Sportsocracy.
You were just dumping a bag of hammers.
Back in the Sportsocracy, it is ESPN Asheville. We've been talking fatal flaws of all the NFL teams ahead of tonight's NFL schedule release. It looks like, Jeremy, just a live in the dream note here. If we were looking for a place to go on NFL Week 1, the Bucs are going to be at the Atlanta Falcons, it looks like, Week 1. Panthers will be on the road. So if that's in consideration for Week 1, I'd like to.
Well, we got a lot of things. We got a lot of things in consideration. We're about, I think, half the dates are. No, it's more than that. Probably 75% of the dates are confirmed, and then we're going to take the NFL schedule and pair it up against what we're already doing. We do want to save some weekends for the fall, but we're doing this stuff.
We're doing stuff. It's a good way to put it. Okay. All right. We do know that the opening game of the season is going to be the Philadelphia Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys. While we're talking fatal flaws here, we'll talk about your division. We'll talk about the Miami Dolphins and the New England Patriots. Both of them are on your list of some hope. What is the hope for New England for 2025?
I'm not going to lie to you. I 100% thought that was going one way, and then you said a team that surprised me. If we're talking hope, the hope for the New England might have more hope right now, and hope. I didn't say they were better. I didn't say any other thing. By comparison of where you've been for the last 3 years, New England may have more hope than any team in the NFL. New England's the most improved team in the NFL, and I don't even think it's debatable. I really don't. Okay. That defense is going to be good, and I think the offense can be – it may not be great yet, but you have all the pieces. The thing I have to be careful with New England is that I look at the 1-53 and go, my God, that roster is so much better right now than it was a year ago, that it's not even comparable.
Well, I mean, you did go through a lot of beefing up.
The line's exponentially better. Exponentially better. Even if you don't like Will Campbell, it's exponentially better.
Right. Will Campbell, Morgan Moses. I know you don't like him, but Garrett Bradbury.
Garrett Bradbury's fine. He wasn't a first-round pick, but
right. You've rebuilt that line. You still have a hole at guard, but maybe you kick Jared Wilson out there for a year, or maybe
probably going to be either. It'll probably be a competition. If I was betting, it'll be a competition between Layden Robinson and CeeDee Sowell.
Okay.
Which honestly, if you've got one hole on an offensive line, you can get by with that.
Absolutely.
Especially when you got a vet at center and you got a high-level talent with Will Campbell. Where New England had a problem last year, they were awful at the tackles. They had one guard who was basically off on an island that was way too easy to away from. I think they're fine offensively. May not be special. The fatal flaw is youth. Because I'm looking at their 2 deep right now. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 8, 9. They have 11 guys on their 2 deep that are going to play high-level snaps that have played less than 20 games in the NFL. That's a lot of inexperience.
Yep.
The good thing about it is that you still got – they haven't hurt themselves in the offing with the salary cap. It's where Bill never could figure out how to spend free agency dollars. Elliott Wolf's figured it out. Because you're young, you can develop, you can cast off what doesn't work, and you can pay what does. I think New England's done a great job. The fatal flaw, like I said, is youth. But that doesn't change that you still have a lot of hope. I mean, I already told you that there are several New England Patriot fans that come to the Village Porch, which is in the neighborhood that I live in. I go down there and they tell me the Patriots are going to the playoffs. And I laughed. And I laughed and I laughed and I laughed. And then I looked at the AFC and went, that's not as funny as I thought it was. I originally thought that was very funny. I don't think so anymore. Where I thought you were headed was where is the hope for the Miami Dolphins? And I'll be honest with you, I think that's a better question than the one you asked me.
Well, I know what the hope is for the Miami Dolphins.
Explain it to me because I can't find it.
Well, the hope is that your quarterback not only survives but thrives.
Okay, so explain to me thrives.
You have to. Yeah, I mean, he goes back to early – was it early last year or was it early year before last when he had that long run where there was talk of MVP stuff? Remember?
That was a 4-game stretch at the beginning of 2 years ago.
Yeah. Like, you got to go back to that. Right? Because that's when you had the most hope for the Miami Dolphins was when, oh, my God, look at the – nasty speed that we have, and nobody knows how to deal with this between Waddle and Tyreek Hill and our fast running backs, all 5 of them. And you feared this offense a bit.
Yeah, that was the start of 2023.
Right, that's what I'm saying. It's been a while since you got that. That's the hope, is that you reclaim that. I just don't know how you do it.
Tua Tagovailoa has had 3 stretches. 2 4-game stretches, 1 3-game stretch, where he looked like an honest-to-God elite quarterback. Other than those 3 stretches in 5 years, how many times has he had a 60 QBR in back-to-back games?
I'll go twice.
It's twice, and one of them was a 60.7. I don't think that hope is there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see it. At 6 years in, you are what you are. It's one thing if you, and I know somebody's going to say, but you're the one that's always talking about Sam Darnold. You're right, because Sam Darnold was never in the ideal situation. Tua Tagovailoa has been in the best situation possible for 4 years, and at no point have I ever looked at him and gone, that's a great NFL quarterback. At one point I did go, that's a great NFL stat accumulator. That's about the best I'm going to give you. Mm-hmm. He throws for a lot of yards. He doesn't get hit nearly as much as you think, and he's hurt all the time. Your fatal flaw is your tackles. Also, the fact that your front office is insane and took 3 nose tackles in the same draft. Well, they could play Kenneth Grant on the outside. You're right. I could put on a dress and tell people my name's Tina, but I'm not going to do that.
I was clicking around on some draft recap articles the other day, and I found 3 different articles, and all of them called out one of the defensive tackle picks by Miami to be the best pick they had in the draft. There wasn't any continuity as to, this was the guy. No, it was all of them. Like, that's how confusing this team is. Like, you don't even know what end is up or which way to hope at this point, other than Tua's got to do something he's never done before, which is stay healthy and be consistent.
Oh, and by the way, right now the starting corners, because it's basically been said that Miami will be having a separation with Jalen Ramsey, whether it's trade, release, whatever the case may be. How many of their starting corners can you tell me right now?
Well, I know they have the Kohu guy.
Cater Kohu is their slot guy.
Cater Kohu. And Storm Duck was on this list last time I looked.
Storm Duck and Cam Smith. That's your starting corners.
Storm Duck.
Storm Duck.
Okay, yeah.
I remember when he was a thing.
Right.
4 years ago.
Right. when we were like, oh, that guy's pretty good. Oh, wait, he disappeared. I guess there was a transfer in there, but
2.
2 transfers?
2.
He transferred twice?
He transferred twice.
He completely went off the radar after he left Carolina for me.
Yeah,
when
he's
I saw
just
him resurface. I went, okay, that's.
It's not there. I mean,
I never saw
your
him
pass
as a
rush is
starter.
really good. Your secondary is really bad.
Yep.
You don't have a safety on this team that I really feel hunky dunky about, and you've got a super young set of corners. I look at Miami and go, you got a lot of big names, but this is not a winning roster. I don't think it's a playoff team. Maybe in the AFC because it gets dicey. You could get lucky and fall into the 7, and you're going to get slaughtered in the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah, if we're saying there's a chance that New England can make the playoffs, then yeah, there's a chance Miami could.
Oh, I have a funny feeling we're about to have our second wager. I'll take the New England Patriots win total against the Miami Dolphins.
Oh, that's not a bet I'm willing to make. I wasn't saying that there's that.
He had such hubris. He had he had wheelbarrow cojones, and then he just stepped on them like an old man where they rolled out of his jorts. I thought for sure you were going to go in.
Oh, no. I don't think there's a big gap between these two teams. That was the point I was trying to make. Was that I don't think we're going New England's that much better, or I don't think they're that much better than Miami. So if there's a chance New England makes it, then yeah, I could see Miami in that discussion as well. Last game of the season, they end up playing each other. It wouldn't surprise me if that was a play-in game for the playoffs. But no, what are those numbers?
I was so excited there.
Now I'm just
New England's 7.5, and I'm not going to lie to you. I was making fun of people for betting it, and now I think I'm going to bet it.
And Miami's
8.5.
8.5.
Which is lunacy to me.
That should be the same number.
That's a weird way to
At
say
best.
New England should be one higher. Especially because they play a weaker schedule.
Yeah, no, we're definitely not doing that. Stay in the AFC. Let's go out west, though. We got 2 teams out west.
Oh, I'm going to lose some friends here. I feel it.
Ruh-roh. The Denver Broncos.
That's the one. Your fatal flaw is your schedule's not what it was last year. All right, I've poked at this. Now let's really, actually, honest to God, discuss it. Okay, because everybody says I'm really reticent to admit when I'm wrong and things like that. Bo Nix had a fine rookie year. I went back to the night of the draft. Do you know verbatim what I said about Bo Nix?
No, I don't remember.
Don't be shocked if he's good in year 1. Wait until time comes, and you'll see. You'll see what I'm talking about. Because he was 25 years old coming in, or 24 years old coming in the league. He had played a lot, and he was walking into a Sean Payton offense. Now, I didn't think they would win that many games because I didn't think that roster was that good. Let's be really honest. Look at what Bo did against the Buffalo Bills. He was 13 of 22, 144 yards and a touchdown in a playoff game, and they got beat 31-7. That's Bo Nix. That's Bo. What he did against the Cincinnati Bengals in a game where their playoff lives was on the line. That's Bo Nix. That's the guy. He can be a 60 QBR guy when everything falls exactly the right way. He was a 65.9 against arguably the worst defense secondary-wise in the NFL in a game they were playing for their playoff lives and lost. But you know who he beat? You know who Bo beat last year? They beat Kansas City 38-0 when Kansas City didn't play a single starter. You beat Indianapolis, Cleveland, Las Vegas, Atlanta, Carolina, New Orleans, Las Vegas, the Jets, and Tampa Bay. Congratulations. Awesome. There was not one good team that I just said in that entire rundown. The best one was Tampa Bay by 1.5 miles. By the way, do you know what every one of those teams, save one, had in common?
What's that?
Their defenses were on the bottom 12 of the NFL. All of them. taking a gander at what you get this year?
I'm going to guess it's markedly different.
Well, it doesn't quite sound like that. Their 2025 opponents are, obviously, you play the 6 in your division. Mm. At home, you get Jacksonville and Tennessee, and the Giants. That's 3 wins. The other 3 are the Cowboys, the Bengals, and the Packers. That's not going to be awesome. On the road, you have to go to the Jets, which is a decent defense. It's not a good offense, but it's a decent defense. Washington and Philadelphia. You get Houston and Indianapolis. But then comes in the kicker. The Chargers and the Raiders both got better. I think Denver's the worst team in this division. I think, and I know that's a spicy thing to say. Which quarterback would you rather have, Bo Nix or Geno Smith? We just did this yesterday. It's Geno.
It's Geno.
Justin Herbert or Bo Nix. And you can talk about the defenses all you want to. That's fine. The defenses are there. It doesn't, just because your defense is really good doesn't mean the one for the Raiders or the Chargers or the Chiefs is not good, and you have to play them.
But the overall depth of this team, is it not better than the Raiders?
I think the Raiders and the Broncos are very similar. Mm-hmm. I like the defense for the Raiders. I think that's where you're headed. They have a front that, if it's healthy, is really, really good. I don't buy into this idea that we talked about yesterday. Sean Payton thinks he's the smartest guy in the room, which is why he's going into a season with everybody I know's 7th running back on the board. He took him 4. Audric Estime and Jaleel McLaughlin, because those are all Sean Payton guys. It's the reason he took Pat Bryant too high. Mm-hmm. I don't care if you love him. He took him too high. You took Pat Bryant over Alec Ayumanor, and I'm not going to lie. I went back and watched the tape. Maybe I missed something. Nope, I don't smoke recreational drugs. That's the only way you can watch those two and go, I'm taking that one over that one. I don't think Sean's doing you any favors. He's putting him in a position to succeed, but he's not putting him in a position to have a roster around him that's good enough to actually beat guys that are better than him. Mm-hmm. You fixate on the defense. You need a weapon, and you take Jahdae Barron. Yeah, I wanted you to add a corner too. Not a slot guy. You already had one of those. You need another guy to play on the outside. I don't like Jahdae on the outside. Not nearly as much. Mm-hmm. It all feels too cute to me. And if you want to have Denver ahead of Las Vegas, more power to you. I think they're the same team. I don't really care. I won't fight you on that. What I will fight you on is the Chargers and the Chiefs. They're ahead of you, and it's not close.
Yeah, you're not. I'm not getting there with the Denver Broncos. But I do think I do feel like it's real close, and Denver has a lot of solid pieces all over the board. You don't necessarily have that star piece. I mean, you do in spots, right? I mean, Patrick Surtain, he's a star. Exactly.
Yeah, he's a star, and then
but
what?
If everything else is a solid, B- to C+, then you're gonna be what you were last year.
Awesome. You'll be 9-8. You'll be the last team makes playoffs, the first team out, and nobody will care.
Mm-hmm. You're gonna hover right around that 500 mark.
There's this. One of the things that's always funny to me is when a team catches lightning in a bottle and everything works out nicely, and then everybody thinks that's who you are because you are what your record says you are. Mm-hmm. You won a game against the Jets, which was historic, in that no team in NFL history had ever won a game the way that you did. Because Bo Nix had, I think it was 8 less yards than I did in the first half. You're the first team in NFL history to ever win a game that way, and you won it 10-9 in a driving rainstorm. Mm-hmm. Other than that, you beat a bunch of nobodies. Cool, you beat the NFC South. You swept the NFC South. You don't play the NFC South this year. You play the NFC East. There wasn't a Washington or a Philadelphia in that division last year.
Mm-hmm. All right, we got a few more teams to get to in the some hope category.
Oh, by the way, the fatal flaw for Denver, expectation.
Okay.
People think they're one thing. They're not.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Absolutely. You're in the Sportsocracy, and this is ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. I found one of my new favorite things to put the Bears barbecue Texas pepper sauce on. Deer steaks. I'm a big fan of venison. I was just thinking, what could spice this up a little bit? Bear Smokehouse Barbecue Texas Pepper Sauce. You can get all their sauces at either of their locations. 135 Cox Avenue in downtown Asheville on the South Slope, or inside Sweeten Creek Brewing on Sweeten Creek Road in South Asheville. They have the best meats in town, and their balls can't be beat. Bear balls, moink balls. The whole appetizer menu really is just something that you could go in there on a busy sports Saturday and just spend your entire day and just graze and imbibe and have a great time. Obviously, Uber home after you're done, because I don't think you're going to find anything on that menu that is not good. I haven't found it yet. Everything they have is amazing, from the appetizers to the sides, and especially their pit masters know how to do all of the meats, from the brisket to the pulled pork to the pulled chicken. They have everything you could ever want. The website, check them out, bearsbbq.com, the official barbecue of the Sportsocracy. Tell them we sent you, and be hanging around. We'll be announcing pretty soon our next live spot down at Bears Smokehouse Barbecue. Also, a reminder, tomorrow night, their next live music night. It's another WTF Thursday tomorrow night at the Cox Avenue shop in downtown. You're in the Sportsocracy, and this is ESPN Asheville. Fatal Flaw Wednesday continues after this.
ESPN.
And we're clear.
How long do you think that live read was?
Still a bit of damp weather around the...
I don't know, a minute and a half.
A lot of clouds. Temperatures
A
get
little
into
more.
the upper 70s and heads up for a few showers, thunderstorms. They may be scattered
little more.
right through this evening. After midnight, they'll probably taper off just a bit. 58, the overnight low.
206.
Thursday morning, some fog, and then sunshine.
Okay.
5. From the Weather Channel, I'm meteorologist Ray Staging.
This report is sponsored by Discover. Guess what? Discover's accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. You heard right, 99%. If you don't think so, maybe it's time to face facts. You're stuck in the past. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report, learn more at discover.com/creditcard.
Bonus bucks. Bonus bucks. Once you win $1,000 in bonus bucks, you'll have more money to use on your fantasy leagues. Bonus bucks. The winning happens every weekday, right here
on ESPN Asheville.
Looking for a career with stability and purpose? NC Department of Adult Correction is hiring correctional officers statewide with a
All right, so we've got
sign-on bonus, paid vacation, and benefits.
We have 7 more some hope teams. Then we've got what I think are the 8 real, honest-to-God Super Bowl contenders.
Okay.
Why don't we do the 8 Super Bowl contenders next Wednesday?
Asheville, where we bring sports and faith together. The Dan Scott Show, 8 a.m.
Okay, we can do that.
Because we're going to run out. There's no way we're getting
This
through
is the
15
story of the
teams
one.
an hour.
As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
I'm Mark Starling, and this Medical Minute is brought to you by Haywood Regional Medical Center. Do you know the signs of a stroke? May is National Stroke Awareness Month, and Haywood Regional
Game it fan says you won't make it through when you keep trying to comfort the feelings of the no-hope teams. We did coddle the no-hope teams maybe a little too much.
Healthy living habits.
It's hard to get through 32 teams in 3 hours.
Stroke risk. And make sure you exercise daily, eat a balanced diet, quit smoking, and know your blood pressure as well as your cholesterol numbers. When a stroke does happen, it's essential to get emergency care right away. Remember the warning signs. If you see face drooping, arm weakness, or speech slurring, it's time to call 911. With stroke care close to home, you can live your healthiest life. Are you at risk for a stroke? You can take our stroke health risk assessment at myhaywoodregional.com. You've been listening to a Medical Minute brought to you by Haywood Regional Medical.
Wait, is Arizona in your top 8?
Asheville has
No.
two things that all Sportsocracy fans.
Okay, I did not have them down as one of the teams.
The teams we have left are.
Bears' famous bear balls are packed with mac and
We haven't
cheese,
talked about the
pulled pork,
Raiders, the
cornbread,
Cardinals, the
deep fried,
49ers,
and
the
then topped with
Seahawks,
bacon and
the
cheese
Steelers,
sauce. This is the
Cowboys,
place to be.
Packers.
Live music on Saturdays
And the
first
Texans.
Sunday of every month. They partner
Sorry,
with the
and the
Guitar
Bengals.
Bar to host
Sorry.
Mr. Jimmy's
We had
Barbecue
way more than I thought we did.
Smokehouse Barbecue in downtown Asheville and South Asheville.
Being
This is
colorblind
J.W.
is
Whitley, General Manager
being
at
colorblind
Parks
is
Ford of
stupid.
Community Hero.
I just saw Red C's comment, like, I can't wait to hear about my team next time. And I looked at my list. I was like, I think you did it wrong.
Wake of Hurricane
No,
Helene.
Cowboys,
Corey and his team
Bengals,
founded
Packers,
Valley Strong
Texans,
Disaster Relief, dedicated to
Raiders,
providing essential
Cardinals,
support to our
49ers,
neighbors in
Seahawks.
need. Nominate your Parks Community Hero at parkscommunityheroes.com. Experience the Parks Promise today at parksfordhendersonville.com.
In the aftermath of Hurricane Helene,
And I don't
we
care
found out
what
a lot
order
of
we
things
go in.
about our community. We saw neighbors helping neighbors, and we learned in desperate times what are the best things to have around.
Well, we got to start here with the Raiders, since
For sure.
we teased it last time.
How did you figure it out? Like, you make stuff happen.
After answering the calls for help that they heard on the radio, the Chainsaw Brothers are still here, making it happen the right way. Fair.
We have breaking
Then
news
give me
too, by
the
the way.
entire NFC West.
3-1,
Save for one.
316-1013.
Did you know Ingles
Did you hear what I said?
USDA choice and
No, I did not. What'd you say?
We have breaking
It's
news
time to
too.
reward you.
Ooh.
Our butchers cut all our meat fresh in the store every day. Grass-fed, organic, you name it. Not only that, we'll even cut it to order just the way you like it. And we grind meat fresh in the store multiple times a day. It's all in the bag. That's the best meat in town for the best folks in town. Ingles. Low prices. Love the savings.
From the Ingles studio, WPEK Fairview, WMXF Waynesville, W225CJ Candler, the #1 preset in your car, and the new and improved iHeartRadio app. Free never sounded so good.
Now, your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website, check. That's check. Enter it now.
Go to ESPNAVL.com to play, and good luck.
Live from the Ingles studio,
I can't wait to play with myself every day.
the Sportsocracy.
Damn the devil to hell! Let the big dog see! Let him on the field!
Come get you some of this.
Fire them cannons! By golly, put more powder in those things.
He couldn't take any more disappointment.
Oh my God. The Jets killed him.
It is ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. The Sportsocracy coming to you live from the Ingles studio. Heard everywhere on the iHeartRadio app and seen everywhere on YouTube. Just go to thesportsocracy.com, click the live video link, subscribe to the channel, and that way you can join us in the chat. Also, when you subscribe, you still get that little alert, right, whenever we go live, which there will be one of those going out tonight, when we have live reactions of the NFL schedule release, which will take place tonight at 8 o'clock.
Which means I have to. That means I have to find the connecting cord for my Fire Stick so I can watch it on DC Streams. Because I took that with us to the draft, and I'm not sure where the cord went. But I have a feeling it's behind that gigantic wall of shoes that my wife has in my office.
Oh no! Are we streaming this thing anywhere tonight? That's my question. Are we?
It's on NFL Network.
Is this on one of the services though? Is this on a streaming service like Netflix picking this up?
No, this is a NFL Plus, ESPN. All of the big boys have their own individual show,
right?
And so do we.
Mm-hmm. That's right. And tune in to the YouTubes. For that, we're talking about the fatal flaws of the worst teams in the NFL. We're not going to get to the actual contender tier today. It's basically just cleaning it up for the rest of you. Don't worry, my team's included in this. We already talked about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
My team was the first team talked about.
Yes,
you have no hope whatsoever. Before we get back into fatal flaws, though, we do have breaking news.
Ooh, breaking news.
Who's
gonna break the news? Who's gonna break the news? Who's gonna break the news?
Derrick Henry has agreed to a contract extension with the Baltimore Ravens.
Okay.
2 years, $30 million with, I believe it was 20 guaranteed, I think was the number that I just saw.
25 is what I'm looking at.
25 guaranteed?
Yes. 25 fully guaranteed over the next 2 seasons.
That should put Derrick Henry in a Baltimore Raven uniform for the rest of his career.
Yes. It's the largest deal in NFL history for a running back over 30 years old. Derrick Henry, currently 31. Still had 16 touchdowns last year. You just had to know that was going to go well.
Well, Derrick Henry is...
You got to run first team. Hey, we're going to give them the toughest running back in the NFL.
Derrick Henry's made of that same thing that Wolverine's claws are made of. So, you just can't break him. Do you know how many touches he has in his career?
Oh.
I'm just curious to see how close you get on this.
Is he up to like 2,800?
He's not quite that high.
27?
25, 40?
Okay.
He only has 174 receptions in his career, which shocked me. I didn't expect it to be much higher than that, but I saw that number and went, that is lower than I thought it would be. Also just had his second best season of his career in his age 30 season.
Man, he is an absolute machine. 325 carries, 349 carries, 378, 303. That's a lot. I mean, he had a 280 and a 219 in there. The 219 was when he only played 8 games for the Tennessee Titans.
And he's missed...
He's cut from a different cloth.
And he's missed a game since that shortened 2021 season.
Right.
Props to David L., by the way, for hitting me with the adamantium in the YouTube chat, which is what I was looking for.
Mm-hmm.
We have actually, you know what? We'll hold on Super Chat until, let's do one team, then we'll do the team that he is referencing. We did tease the Raiders going into the last break.
Yes, we did. All right, the Las Vegas Raiders' fatal flaw is what now? It's still their secondary, right?
The Raiders' fatal flaw to me would be how much can you do in 1 year? Going from Pete Carroll to Antonio Pierce.
Mm-hmm.
I keep wanting to call him Antonio Gibson, which is really infuriating to me. Going from Antonio Pierce to Pete Carroll is such a step forward. You've got to change a whole culture. Because the Raiders have had kind of a loser culture for 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
How much of that can Pete Carroll do in one offseason? It is funny to look at a Raider roster that's not that much different. It's different. It's not that much different. But just being coached by Pete Carroll is enough for us to go, I don't want to play.
I was going to say, the way that you feel about that roster and I don't want that to come off as if you're listening to this thinking, oh, well, this guy's saying Patrick Graham's terrible. That's not where I'm at.
No.
I'm just, if you have Pete Carroll leading this team, then, I don't know, a secondary that has, Jeremy Chin and Eric Stokes and Jacorian Bennett, it does make you think, okay, so maybe those aren't superstars, but at least with a competent coach, I know they're going to do some of the little things correctly. Like when you had a terrible culture in the building, I never trusted anything that came out of Las Vegas. Because it's hard to. They never gave me a reason to. But now with better leadership, maybe that all changes.
By the way, do you see the irony that Pete Carroll's been here for 5 months? They already have 6'1" and some change Eric Stokes, 6'1" and some change Mello Dotson, 6'4" Darian Porter playing corner.
Yep.
I'm sure that's just an ironic, because Pete loves long corners.
Mm-hmm.
I think the defense is going to be better than people think. I like Devin White playing for Pete Carroll because I see what that role is going to be, and I like it. My bigger question is not really the defense. My bigger question is the offense. What can that be? Because your weapons are not great. You got a lot of guys. I mean, a lot of guys. There are a ton of familiar names in that receiver room. Jacoby Myers obviously being he's the one.
Mm-hmm.
Then you go Trey Tucker, Jack Betch, Dante Thornton Jr., Tommy Mellott, who was the quarterback at Montana State, ran a 4.38 and now is converting to wide receiver.
Mm-hmm.
Kyle Phillips was that slot receiver out of UCLA that I liked a few years ago.
Yep.
Colin Johnson, who I think his goal is to play for every team in the NFL. One big catch for every team in the league, and then I retire.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it's going to look like. I like the line a lot. Not huge on the right side, but I love the left side.
Mm-hmm.
And Genty and Geno Smith that's a marked improvement from where you were.
And you're and running 2 tight end sets with Brock Bowers and Michael Mayer.
I wouldn't be so sure of that.
Oh, are they getting rid of one of those? Was there a trade?
I think they did everything short of saying they would drive Michael Mayer to your facility. And they could not get a deal done. That was talked about all draft weekend long.
I was saying nobody wanted him?
I was shocked. I love Michael Mayer. I still love Michael Mayer.
You should.
I hope he sticks with this team. They play nothing but 12 personnel, and they just light you up playing 2 tight ends.
Have you called the Carolina Panthers? Let's take Michael Mayer.
Let's stop it.
Let's add
Carolina already has their tight end of the future. It's Mitchell Evans. We've been over this.
Oh, that's right. I apologize. I forgot they drafted him.
I have no fear. We've already linked up. We're going to play hacky sack and froth every Tuesday because we're best friends now.
Jeremy's already hooking up with NFL players. That's not good.
Yeah, we've already got best friend Tuesdays scheduled for. I'll drive down to Charlotte night before Womack Wednesdays. We'll spend all day Wednesday playing froth, doing karate in the garage.
All right, the culture change is the biggest fatal flaw for the Las Vegas Raiders.
You got a long way to go and a short time to get there.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how much you can do in a year.
Yep. All right, let's go to our super chat for the next fatal flaw team.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money. Money, money.
And it is from Red Sea. And he says, Arizona's fatal flaw, Drew Petzing. Monty and JG, or Jonathan
Gannon.
Yeah, thank you. Have secure jobs regardless of this season's outcome. If Petzing doesn't evolve, then he will be out of a job this time next year. Everything rides on his shoulders to fix that offense.
I want you to start on Arizona because we feel very different about this team.
Do we?
I think. Maybe I'm wrong.
Okay. I don't know that we feel much differently about this team. I mean, I see what he's saying about Drew Petzing. You know me, I don't know coordinators all that well. All I do know is that Drew Petzing's name was hot on the market a year ago or a cycle ago. I didn't feel like it was that much this time. So what changed to make him not as sought after in the process?
I think when you watch Arizona, you realize that last year, why did the MHJ thing not work to the level? Petzing actually got better last year, statistically. Points per game were better. Yards per game were better. I mean, this was a top 12 total offense last year. With, I'm not going to say nothing from Marvin Harrison Jr., but he really only had that one big game. If you can unlock it in MHJ, this offense can be really good. Also blows my mind how much he runs. You would think a team that has Kyler Murray and they invested in the weapons. You have one of the best young receivers in the league and one of the best tight ends in the league. They finished 4th and 7th in rushing yards in the last 2 years with James Conner. I think that's where the evolution has to come in. This has to be a team that runs to set up the pass, not runs to run.
Okay.
And you know what? I'll agree with him. I'll say Drew Petzing is the fatal flaw. I'm not sure that what you want to do matches the personnel. I mean, I've told you this. I like Kyler Murray better than you do. I like Kyler Murray better than most people do, which is funny because that's a vehement change over the last few years. The situation fits him better now. I hated him with Cliff Kingsbury. I like him now. I like Arizona a lot now.
I think it's a solid team talent-wise.
I think the improvement in that defense is staggering. Do you realize how far they've come in just a handful of years?
Well, all I know is your front four would make me poo my pants if I was on the other side of it.
Josh Sweat, Walter Nolan, Dalvin Tomlinson, Justin Jones, Darius Robinson, or B.J. Ojolari, or Zaven Collins.
Oh, by the way, we can still bring in
Calais Campbell.
Yeah. He's still out here kicking around 15 and a half decades after he's been in the NFL.
You've improved the linebacking core because Baron Browning, Mac Wilson, Akeem Davis-Gaither, that's not bad. I wish the injury issue wasn't out there with Will Johnson, because I think he would just immediately come in as your true one, and then I would love your defense. I love your defense anyway, because I take that coach with this talent and go, that's going to work. It's just going to work. But and I'm really glad that Red Sea said what he did, because I'm not going to lie to you, I was struggling of how to quantify what I was going to say about Arizona because I love them. But there is a but. This is also a good time to point out, have you looked at who they play? The division the NFC West plays, this should tell you one of the reasons that I like them so much. Arizona plays Atlanta, Carolina, Jacksonville, Tennessee, Green Bay, and then the division at home. That's a lot of winnable games. On the road, they go to the Texans, the Colts, the Buccaneers, the Saints, Cowboys, Bengals. There are a lot of winnable games on that schedule. Especially if you catch some of those more heavy hitter games late.
And especially if you can win one-score games. As you were listing all of those off, I thought, that's a 3-point game. That's a 3-point game. That's a 3-point game. The Arizona Cardinals' fatal flaw, Drew Petzing, the offensive coordinator. How about let's stay in the same division, San Francisco 49ers. Is it John Lynch or is it Kyle Shanahan?
It's John Lynch. Your fatal flaw is John Lynch. Because look how many guys on that team are in positions that they shouldn't be in. Do you remember how good that San Francisco roster was just a handful of years ago?
Yeah.
Where they felt like Philadelphia feels right now. Where you just look up and down the roster and go, my God, they've got stars everywhere. Look at it now. Where at receiver, you've got overrated Brandon Ayuk, Jawan Jennings, that I'm not going to lie, I do like him as a 2. Ricky Pearsall, that feels like he's, I don't know. He's fine. He just doesn't do much for me. The running back room is fine. The quarterback room is fine. I say the word fine way too much with San Francisco. Then I get to the defense and go, that's not fine. That sucks on ice because you've got two. Do you realize they have two linebackers that start on this team that are not much taller than you?
Really?
Nick Martin and D. Winters are both 5'10".
It's a bold strategy, Kyle.
And you took Nick Martin in the third round. Do you remember during the mock drafts I went, Nick Martin, he missed last year because he got hurt in I think it was the second game. And I was like, teams are hot on him. They really want to get him in the building. I think there's a good chance that he gets drafted. And then I heard his name on day 2, and I went, oh, okay, Kooky Madookie. You have a bunch of defensive tackles that I don't think are very good. I don't think you have a pass rusher outside of Nick Bosa. And your secondary, how do I say this in a way that I won't get in trouble with the FCC? Woof. That secondary is brutal. Brutal.
You don't like Renardo Greene?
He's fine.
Lenore?
That's 2 slot corners. Awesome. You have 2 undersized safeties and a third corner that, okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's, by the way, slottiest room in the NFL. They have 5 slot slot corners on this team.
But we have Upton Stout. How many 5'10" guys can they have on this roster?
1 billion.
I'm just clicking through, and
every one of them short.
So far is 5'10" or 5'9".
Every one of them short. DK Metcalf would actively have 342 yards against San Francisco's secondary.
No doubt about it.
I don't think it's good. And I don't see a path that it's going to be good.
Trey Avery. There's another one.
Yeah. Get you a little Darrell Luter Jr. while you're in there because I don't know if he's 5'10" on the dot, but I can tell you he's in there somewhere.
Oh, they list him at 6 foot.
Stop.
He got a full 6 foot listing.
Stop. If Darrell Luter's 6 foot, I'm 6'7". I got news for you. I'm not.
He is not, my friends. Oh, Derek Canteen. There's another one. Oh, good job. He's not going to make the roster, but he still fits in the 5'10" club. The San Francisco 49ers.
And
John Lynch, because the roster construction has atrophied.
Well, I mean, just look at your second team. Look at those second string guys and just go, how many of these guys would even make an NFL roster? And you just go up and down. I do the draft every year. And even I sit here and go, how is Luke Farrell the second tight end on any team in the NFL?
Mm-hmm.
How is Yetur Gross-Matos the reserve pass rusher for any team in the NFL?
Well, that's an upgrade because he was a starter, wasn't he, last year?
He played last year more than he should. It's bad. It is bad. You remember that movie, How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days? Or was it 10 Days?
Yes.
This is how to break a Super Bowl roster in 4 drafts. And they succeeded because it is a mess.
You're in the Sportsocracy, and this is ESPN Asheville. Fatal Flaws. Roll on after this.
Missing football.
And we're clear.
Sense. The season never
Thank
ends
you.
in the Sportsocracy.
This is like the spark we need.
There is no offseason with these guys.
And we drafted everything.
Weekdays at noon on ESPN Asheville.
We just love football.
Heard everywhere on the iHeart Radio app.
For over 8 years, QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in non-surgical relief for joint pain, with over 50,000 satisfied patients. People with knee and back pain now living pain-free. Shoulder and hip pain, gone. QC Kinetics uses regenerative cell therapy to restore the tissue in your achy joints. They're using biologic growth factors with robust healing properties, carefully and strategically placed in your joint. It's a powerful and potent way to give your joints new life, repairing old tissue. Best part, with QC Kinetics, there are no drugs, no surgeries involved, and there's no downtime. This is an all-natural cellular level option with lasting relief. The patient satisfaction reports are astonishing. Imagine doing all the things you enjoy this summer. without being slowed down by that awful joint pain in your knees or back. Call QC Kinetics now and learn about these cutting-edge treatments that can help you live your best life. Call 828-333-9517 in Asheville and Greenville. Call 828-333-9517.
Made for This Mountain exists to empower listeners to rise above their struggles and face the mountain in front of them. So during Mental Health Awareness Month, focus on your emotional well-being. Tune into the podcast and climb that mountain.
You will never be able to change or grow through the thing that you refuse to identify. The thing that you refuse to say, hey, this is my mountain. This is the struggle.
Listen to Made for This Mountain on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart. Open your free iHeart app and search Made for This Mountain.
Mountain Graphics and Showtime
All right, let's
Sports
play a
have
game.
teamed up under a new local owner to serve our community with the
Since
finest
2020.
custom unique branded items at the best
5
price.
NFL
Mountain
running
Graphics
backs
and
have
Showtime
more than
Sports can
15
customize
games with
whatever you,
100
your
plus
team,
rushing
or your
yards.
local group may need. With
Who are they
screen
and
printing,
how many do they
embroidery, and
have?
laser engraving. Visit mtngraphicsaVL.com or Showtime Sports.
Derrick Henry.
Okay, Derrick Henry is one, but I'm not going to tell you how many he has.
AVL.com for your local one-stop custom apparel shops.
This is Jada.
100-yard games in 5 years?
Yes.
I would like to introduce you to some of our very own Parks.
31.
Eric, who hosted the
You're
football
too
team to
low.
support
Guess the
their
other
neighbors
four.
and be-
Oh, crap.
Chris, who led a fleet of Ford commercial vehicles throughout the night.
I'll put it this
delivering
way.
supplies with emergency
Derrick
services
Henry
to all
has
corners of
one
the
more
county.
than 3 and 4 do combined.
No doubt.
ParksCommunityHeroes.com. Experience the Parks Promise today at ParksFordHendersonville.com.
Did you know Ingalls only sells USDA choice and prime cuts of meat?
Saquon.
Maybe it's time to reward yourself.
Saquon is 4. He
Our
has
butchers
17.
cut all our meat fresh in the store every day. Grass-fed, organic, you name it. Not only that, we'll even cut it to order just the way you like it.
You love to.
Jonathan Taylor.
There's 2.
Multiple times a day. It's all in the bag. That's the best meat in town for the best.
Jacobs.
5.
Ingalls. Low prices. Love the savings.
Looking to buy or sell in Asheville? At Clarissa Sells WNC.
Do it.
Joe Mixon?
No,
Real estate
you've
team in
almost said it a
County.
second ago,
Give
I think.
us a call, 828-774-6343. We're here for what matters most. You.
I don't know.
Nick Chubb.
Nick Chubb.
The Sportsocracy. We treat star athletes better because they're better people.
That's not fair.
Life isn't fair, kiddo. Get used to it.
It is ESPN Asheville. This is the Sportsocracy and fatal flaws of all the teams in the NFL. We're almost through the ones that have little hope for 2025.
This is in terms of winning a Super Bowl. A lot of these teams are going to make the playoffs.
Yes.
Next Wednesday, we'll get to the fatal flaws of the Super Bowl contenders. And unfortunately, one of my favorites just gained a new fatal flaw that their little 3 safety procedure is not going to work.
What?
Baltimore. Darius Washington blew his Achilles yesterday. Yeah. Now, it does help when the backup was Malachi Starks. So, not like you're going to be playing me at safety, but that did take an element of that defense away.
Yeah. Glad you did that now, aren't you, Baltimore? For our next team to analyze here, since we've done Arizona and San Francisco, might as well stay in the division and go with Seattle.
What are your feelings on Seattle?
Oh, boy.
I know for a fact
Seattle
I like them better than you do.
Seattle's a ginormous unknown for me because I don't know what this is going to look like. Sam Darnold in a new spot. How the health of that offensive line is going to hold up. I don't know that I expect a whole lot out of them, more than just a run-of-the-mill kind of average season. I don't see anything too super spectacular about this team. JSN's going to have his moments. Sam Darnold's going to be fine. I just don't know that this team is a real threat to anything other than just a wild card spot and moving on after the first round.
I want to love Seattle. I want to love them.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm struggling with it. Because I think they have a lot of pieces. I'm not sure how exactly they're going to win games. Not saying that they're not going to. I can't figure out what is, in an idyllic world, you walk into a matchup with the Arizona Cardinals or the LA Rams. What are you hanging your hat on? Is it your ability to run the ball and you got Sam running play action and you're getting the ball out to one of the 413 receivers you have on this team? 410 of which are slot guys. Is Kenny Walker going to take that step forward? Is it going to be more Zach Charbonnet? Is the line going to hold up? What is the line going to look like? There's just a lot of unknowns with Seattle. I love a lot of these names. I could make the argument that there's no team in the NFL that has more names on their roster that I really like than Seattle. But I still can't get to that all-in point. I'm just lukewarm on them.
Who took over the offense?
Oh, Clint Kubiak.
Clint Kubiak. I think it's not really striking fear into my heart.
Well, I mean, that's the funny thing about Seattle is like everything about them is it's a ham sandwich. I love a ham sandwich. Love it. It's probably what I'm going to have for lunch after this show.
Mm-hmm.
Get a little mayonnaise, a little mustard on that bad boy. You don't open a restaurant on it.
No. Like, how do we turn that ham sandwich into the best Monte Cristo you've ever had?
And that's where I'm at, is I don't feel like you have that one hammer ingredient. Let me ask you a question, and I'm not going to lie. I had to dig into Seattle pretty hard when we started doing this.
Okay.
The best player on this roster is who? If you had to pick one player on this team and say that's the best player they have.
Oh, boy. I guess I would probably say Jackson Smith and Jigba.
And I would say Devin Witherspoon. Okay. Or Leonard Williams.
Leonard Williams would have been my second choice.
So on one team, I would have accepted Sam Darnold, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Charles Cross, Leonard Williams, Ernest Jones, Devin Witherspoon. Now let me ask you the second side of this. How many of the guys that I just said are top 10 players in the NFL at their own position? It's
Leonard
zero.
Williams?
It's zero.
Okay.
Leonard Williams is the one. It's just a question of what position are you. Because if you're going 3-4 defensive ends, okay, that being top 10 at that does not necessarily mean a whole lot because only half the league plays it.
Right.
But now if you're talking about him as a defensive tackle, it gets a little closer. Because there's obviously more of those, but I also don't know that he winds up in the top 10. I think he does, but I'm not positive.
Right.
That's my problem with Seattle. They're so deep.
Probably close to corners.
They're so deep. This roster is so... There's no player on this roster that can get hurt that I just go, well, you're screwed. Mm-hmm. Sam Darnold would be the head of that snake because I really don't like the idea of you having played Drew Lock. The roster is incredibly deep. But I don't think there's a whole lot on the high side. And so I get back to all right, game's on the line. There's 2 minutes to go. Where are you going? Who are you hanging your hat on? Jackson Smith and Jigba that's now getting number one coverage playing on the outside when he's predominantly a slot guy?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
It's either him or hoping that Cooper Kupp can still make a play.
And he needs to drink all the milk he can and sleep upside down like a bat.
No doubt he does.
He needs to find a cryogenic closet to sleep upside down in. I don't know. The fatal flaw of Seattle is your lack of star power. That was the best way I could figure out to say it.
You got a lot of good stuff. You got nothing that's really great.
You're like the kid that had a lot of C pluses and B minuses. Yeah, you passed. You didn't make the dean's list. There was nothing that you ran home going, look, Mom, look, Dad, I got an A on my test. No, I got an 84 again. This is what I do. This is what I do every single time I take a test.
You're not getting schollies to go to Harvard. You're paying full price to go to East Carolina, bro.
Oh, boy. Full price to go to East Carolina involves a lot of antibiotics. I couldn't not say it. I got there and I went, don't say it, don't say it, don't say it. And it did. And it did.
And it did.
Mike's not there anymore. I don't have to be nice anymore.
Yeah. You're in the Sportsocracy. This is ESPN Asheville. Take a quick break, and when we return, we will close out the fatal flaws. We got 4 more teams in the some hope category. Steelers, Cowboys among them. Coming up next.
ESPN Asheville.
Clear.
Your mountain weather.
East Carolina, the only. You're sure we're clear?
Afternoon. Sunshine mixed with a lot of clouds.
Yes.
East Carolina's the only school in the world where every girl that gets a scholarship there, her essay was going to Greenville and allowing a professor to watch her eat an Olive Garden breadstick.
From the Weather Channel, I'm meteorologist Ray Stager.
This report is sponsored by Straight Talk Wireless. Straight Talk might not be on your shopping list, but it should.
Not a lot of people
Next
know
time you're
this,
grabbing some
but
milk
guys
off the
that get
shelf at
out,
your local
guys that go to
Walmart,
East
stop
Carolina
by the
for 4
Straight
years
Talk aisle
and come out
and
still
switch to
virgins,
real
they have to
unlimited
join
data.
the clergy.
It's quick. It won't even.
Because if
take
you
up
can't
room
get
in
it
your
there,
cart.
you ain't getting it anywhere.
Thanks for calling Discover. This is Nia.
Hi, Nia. It's Jennifer. Did you know that Discover automatic...
Are you saying they polish a lot of doorknobs down there?
Yeah, I work here.
Okay. I was just double checking. Get it?
Because Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year.
Gary Birch said that puts East Carolina on my bucket list.
Get you.
Bro, I'm going to be honest with you. It shouldn't.
You earn, we match. Discover Cashback Match.
It's a lot like playing Pac-Man. Just because it's easy doesn't mean it's fun.
Skechers getting comfortable.
Although,
by hands-free
it can be.
Hey, I'm Bobby Slayton. I'm here with my
You get the right level of drunk, and that's a boy. That's
Why
a.
did it take so long to invent something?
Yeah, but you also get the right level of drunk. You also get the right level of herpes.
Yeah, and that is, you got to be careful because those little critters are around every corner in Greenville.
Women and kids in all your favorite. Find Skechers slip-ins at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
I have never heard Rutgers called that. David L. You win, and I'm never calling Rutgers anything else for the rest of my life. And yes, yes, it is.
Free iHeartRadio app today.
At Ingles, whether we're celebrating Friday Night Rivals,
David, basically, the best way to explain it is if Myrtle Beach had its own Power 5 school, it would be East Carolina.
Ingles,
which is funny because they do have Coastal Carolina, and yet somehow East Carolina is more Myrtle Beach than Coastal.
For a Cause is coming up Saturday, May 24th. Cars Against Breast Cancer at the Advanced Auto Parts in Oakley Plaza, 801 Fairview Road. It'll be an afternoon of family-friendly fun with a 50-50 and raffle prizes, including a PS5 and the grand prize a week in a condo in Myrtle Beach, Tennessee, or Virginia. There'll be live music.
YouTube's definitely demonetizing this stream. Wait till you see tonight for the schedule relaunch. I'm not even sure we can monetize that one.
At Oakley Plaza.
Do better, be better every day. That's the Parks Promise. Our mission, to improve lives with every interaction.
This will be Tank's first show working from his house, so there's no telling what he's going to say.
The Parks Promise today at parksfordhendersonville.com.
First one in a while.
Hendersonville.com.
Speaking of which, how are we getting this microphone to you? Am I going to have to drive over there after the show?
No, I'll come up your way.
That'll work.
Every step of the way. Whether you're searching for your dream home, looking to sell quickly, or exploring
Yeah, sorry, dude. I got on that call this morning, and it was like
to get you the best deal possible.
Money took precedent.
Thomas went to get the boys, so I've got them with me, so I don't have to rush to the bus stop or anything.
10-4.
Real estate dreams a reality. I'm your trusted.
Yeah, I've got it boxed up,
moves
so
and
it's
making dreams
right
come
here
true.
at my feet.
The Sportsocracy.
You were just dumber than a bag of hammers.
We're back in the Sportsocracy on ESPN Asheville, talking fatal flaws of the NFL teams heading into tonight's NFL schedule release. What's the biggest problem your NFL team has?
The biggest problem my NFL team has, they suck a lot. An aggressive amount. Like if your vacuum cleaner, if you put a Jets logo on your vacuum cleaner, you will have the cleanest house in your neighborhood. Mm-hmm. For sure.
No doubt about it. We're going to be treated on opening night to the Dallas Cowboys against the Philadelphia Eagles. Let's start with the Cowboys here. They fall into the some hope category. What's the hope?
I just that game I can't get away from the pettiness of it that Philadelphia raises the banner with Cowboys on the sideline. Let me explain to Cowboy and Eagle fans how the rest of us feel about this. The other 30 teams in the NFL feel like they were gifted a VHS tape that had XXX on the top of it, and then you put it in your VCR and it was your cousin. Ew. Like, oh, we waited this long for this to be good. And it's not. It's not. By the way, we have a super chat that may be my favorite super chat of all time. This might be the funniest super chat we've ever gotten. It's from Long This.
All right.
He said, "You two look like a two-person Civil War reenactment. I'll let you guess who's on which side." That is comedy at its finest.
I don't know what to make of that.
Look, people have said some horribly mean stuff to us over the years. I will never forget the guy that said, what was that stupid movie with it was a horror movie and there were all the creatures up in the hills. The Hills Have Eyes. Somebody said we were if the Hills Have Eyes had a podcast, that's what it would look like. I said that got a personal message that went.
Creatures in those hills.
I was like, that was good.
It wasn't like werewolves and boogeyman up in them hills.
No, it was incestual horned critters.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure you knew what you were talking about.
Oh, I've never seen the movie, but I know.
Again, just wanted to make sure you.
We've had a lot of winners. We've had a lot of winners of today. Funny things said in our YouTube chat. I think Long this just. And for me to say that and it be completely unrelated to what we're talking about, that means it had to be high-level funny. That is high-level funny.
Yes. The Dallas Cowboys' fatal flaw is what?
I still don't think your defense is very good. I don't mind your offense at this point. I really don't. I know I hammered you for taking Tyler Booker in the first round just because I couldn't fathom how anybody got there. Mm-hmm. The line's fine, and they're going to score points. I just think you're going to give up 1 billion points a week. Outside of, be really honest with yourself, outside of Micah Parsons, name me the player on that defense that you are confident in. Confident. Catastrophic. See?
Yeah, I don't really.
And there's a handful I like. I like Osa Odigizua. I don't love that you paid him $1 bajillion.
I like DeMarvion Overshown.
I do too, but he's coming off an injury.
Right.
Then you get the corners that everybody. By the way, anytime it should tell you everything you need to know. When a secondary goes, we should go get Kyer Elam. That will be an improvement. Mm-hmm. I didn't need to read the rest of the book. That was everything I did. The Cliff Notes were good enough.
Yeah,
it's
but
not
to be
good.
Fair, this was a team that already had Andrew Booth on it. So
true. That's another one. You remember? You remember?
Yeah, we remember.
Now, I mean, Savon Ravel, once he gets out on the field, I think that's going to be an improvement. Mm-hmm. I cannot wait to see who gets relegated to the slot because it will not be Ravel. There's just not a lot I trust on that side. And it's like a graveyard of bad picks. And now Jarrah has decided, you know what? I don't just need my own bad picks. I need to go get failures from other teams, like Peyton Turner. Let me come on. I need all the bad draft picks I can get on one team. Mozzie Smith and Solomon Thomas and you got a lot of guys that were grossly overdrafted. Yeah, Mozzie Smith was his.
He gets to claim Mozzie Smith.
Troy Pride. I remember when Carolina did that, and I went, yeah. Oh, no. It took one training practice for me to go, oh, you're not good at all.
Yeah, I mean, I'm right there with you. I feel like the offense has a good future ahead of them with George Pickens in town now, but yeah, shootout territory could get interesting.
I mean, they could average 28 points a week. Wouldn't shock me at all. They could also average giving up 30 points a week. It wouldn't shock me at all either.
Right. Let's go to the other heritage franchise, the Pittsburgh Steelers.
You finding a quarterback for you is a lot like Indiana Jones trying to find the crystal skull. People's faces are melting off. You got chased by, and I'm mixing all of them together here. You got chased by a big old rolling rock ball. Just all the things. It's so many bad things have gone in this search for a quarterback.
And it always comes up snakes. Why does it always have to be snakes?
By the way, just so you know, the only Indiana Jones movie I've ever seen was The Crystal Skull. It was so bad that I refused to watch any of the rest of them.
Well, you did that wrong.
Don't care. You were the same people that made the rest of them came together and said, hey, let's do this, which means there is not enough intelligence there for me to have great faith that the rest of them were good. I almost feel like it's a big, long con that all of you have been doing to tell me that they're good just so I'll sit down and watch all. How many of them are there? 4? All of them, and they're all terrible.
Just the 3. You don't need to watch Crystal Skull again. You already watched it.
I've already said I wouldn't watch it again.
Yeah.
I would not watch it again under any circumstances.
Yeah, no, I mean, Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Pass.
Really good.
Pass. Old. DMP old.
Temple of Doom.
Kalima.
Kalima.
Yeah, old.
Num Shavai. All right. Anyhow, yeah, Pittsburgh Steelers. They can't find quarterbacks.
The irony of that reference is those movies were relevant the last time the Pittsburgh Steelers were.
Oh, that's not even nice.
They had 2 Super Bowl years, and then other than that, you've been 9-8 basically for the better part of 30 years.
Fair enough.
Now, look, just in theory, something you said earlier. You're talking about Indianapolis.
Okay.
If you put a good quarterback on the Pittsburgh Steelers, do you think the same thing you did with Indianapolis?
No.
I don't either. I don't either. That's why I wanted to ask that.
No, I do not. I mean, I like the fact that you have DK Metcalf in town now, but I liked it better when you had the 2 weapons, right? When you had George Pickens, even though they're both crazy and they were probably going to fight each other for snaps, literally every week. I would still rather put up with that rather than now I'm relegated to DK Metcalf, Pat Freiermuth, and a whole bunch of failures.
Well, Roman Wilson's not a failure yet. I probably will be, but
excuse me,
not yet.
But I mean, Ben Skowronek, Scotty Miller, Calvin Austin III, Robert Woods. No, thank you. I will pass. You can.
God, that's
sign
like
me up for.
That's like your parents bought your Christmas presents at Grandma's yard sale. Just.
That's right. We got you a PS4.5. It came straight from Malaysia. It's just as good. You can play all the finest games on it, like Grand Theft Torino and Red Blue Journey. It's a cowboy show. It's not quite as good as Red Dead Redemption, but
of this draft season was looking at Pittsburgh and going, man, this team has been bad drafting for a long time, and nobody talks about it.
Mm-hmm. Let's go to the Houston Texans.
I really buy the defense. think the atrophy of your receiver room is going to catch up to you. Stephon Diggs not working out last year. Tank Dell probably being on the shelf for the entire year this year. Mm-hmm. And then you just look up and down and go, what, in terms of targets, who do you buy? Honestly.
Well, Nico.
Well, Nico's obvious. Every team in the NFL has one. Who keeps him from just getting sweltered?
I don't know that you have that guy.
I love
take some heat off, and Jaden Higgins is going to be a fun piece. But
I love Jaden Higgins and I love Jalen Noel. Mm-hmm. If you told me right now, Higgins started on the outside, Noel started in the slot, I think I would like this receiving core better than I do right now.
Okay.
Christian Kirk to me was just always, he's super boomer bust. He doesn't do any of the ancillary things that you want a receiver to do. But he'll hit you over the top. That's fun. He'll hit you over the top every once in a while. I just don't really care all that much. And I don't buy the line. Mm-hmm. Your line looks like an expansion roster. They exposed Cam Robinson and Trent Brown because they both made way too much money. And Houston went, we're in. Like they did with, was that Ryan Glenn and Tony Baselli?
Yeah.
I was today years old, by the way, when I found out that Ryan Glenn was Aaron Glenn's brother. I've been a fan of the Jets for 35 years. I did not know that.
Mm-hmm. The line feels very Jacksonville Jaguar-y.
It does.
To me.
It's just patchwork. And
right,
so you've got these heavy hitters.
Tomlinson is the Brandon Scherf of this line. And you got Cam Robinson out there who I will continue to say for feels like the 9th year in a row, this guy's not that good.
He's not good at football. He was Minnesota's panic. Oh, my God, Christian Darrisaw's hurt. We're the best team in the NFC at that time. And we have to protect this run. And they went and traded for Cam Robinson.
Right.
The problem I see with Houston, you have all of these burner receivers. Kirk, Higgins to a point, really Jalen Noel. Are you going to have enough time to get him the ball? Because I am scared to death of that offensive line. Mm-hmm. And I don't think the receivers are good enough in the intermediate to actually take that pressure off. If you're just constantly running 9 routes and constantly running over the top, that doesn't keep pass rush from getting to you because that takes a long time to develop. And I have a funny feeling CJ's going to get blitzed a lot. I think he's going to get sacked a lot. And they're going to get into this will be a defensive first team. And it will fall on how much can Joe Mixon really shoulder the load. And then you run to set up the pass. That's the one path that I see for them.
And finally, the Cincinnati Bengals.
Can you keep Joe Burrow from getting hit 443 times? That wasn't a rhetorical question. Do you actually think what they're putting in front of him is going to preclude him from getting hit 1 billion times?
No, I do not. Because, he hasn't had that year yet, has he?
No.
Has he had a year where he hasn't gotten his brains beat out?
No, and I could make the argument that this is the worst line he's had yet.
Mm-hmm.
Because Cordell Volson somehow is still on this team. He's still the starter. The hope is that Dylan Fairchild supplants him. Mm-hmm. But I never really saw it in Orlando Brown. Amarius Mims, people tell me how good he was. I didn't see it. I'm not saying it didn't happen. That he had some glimmers at the end of the year. Mm-hmm. And you've got this huge deal going on with Trey Hendrickson, who's the best player on this defense. Without Trey Hendrickson, you are doomed. Right now, you don't have either of your top 2 pass rushers because Shamar Stewart won't report until you get the deal done because you tried to cheap out on him, and Trey Hendrickson won't report because you tried to cheap out on him. Mm-hmm. The fatal flaw of the Cincinnati Bengals is still what it has always been, the front office. Why do you try to be the cheapest team in the NFL? And it constantly bites you. Things that never happen to other teams, they happen to Cincinnati. Trying to pay guys under slot. That's a baseball thing, not a football thing. We don't do that in the NFL. We did this to get guys into camp, and yet somehow you're the team that has the guy that won't report to camp. It baffles me.
They made some good picks on the defensive side of the ball in the draft. The question is, will they have the immediate impact that you need? Because we know the offense is going to score points by the bucket load. But can you stop anybody? Is the bigger question, and I can't tell you the answer to that. Because I look at the defense and I still think, okay, well, all right, Trey Hendrickson, they sort that out. Obviously, that's going to be fine. Shamar Stewart, he adds a new little wrinkle there that they didn't have before as a second pass rusher. But I mean, is Demetrius Knight going to be an immediate impact to the point where it's going to start shifting that defense over from bad to good? Because I think you're still in a whole bunch of shootouts, and you got to pray. You got to pray Joe Burrow stays upright, and you got to pray that you just get one stop.
If you had told me this team was going to go defense with its first two picks, and not one of them played in the secondary, I would have been dumbfounded by that. I'd have said, well, it's two edge rushers, and they traded Trey Hendrickson. What'd they get for him? Oh, you didn't do that either.
Nope.
Cincinnati, I'm going to make a comparison, and I know we're up against the clock, but I just have to say this because we're talking about the Bengals. The Cincinnati Bengals, to me, feel like the kid that inherited a really successful business because their father passed away. And now all they're trying to do is not burn it to the ground. Because you got Joe Burrow and you got Jamar Chase solely by just picking at slot. Joe Burrow was the no doubt number one pick the year you had it. Jamar Chase was the best player universally on the board. Not for me, but universally on the board at 5. You took those two. You took T. Higgins. That took some skill. Other than that, it feels like you haven't actually done anything outside of sign Trey Hendrickson, and I feel like you've been pushing him out the door for 2 years.
NFL schedule release is tonight at 8 o'clock. Check us out on the YouTube. We'll be live streaming our reactions to the schedule release. We'll finally find out where our teams are going and when, and we'll begin the breakdown of the schedule. We'll also have bunch of that coming up for you on Friday's program. Tomorrow, preempted by...
we're gone Friday.
Here on Friday, are we? My bad. I apologize. Monday. We'll have a lot of that for you here on ESPN Asheville. The reactions from that, preempted by the Braves tomorrow here on ESPN Asheville, and returning on Monday at noon. But check us on the YouTube tonight at 8 o'clock. It's the Sportsocracy. And it is ESPN Asheville.
ESPN Asheville.
Clear.
Thank you.
Your mountain weather forecast.
Still a bit of damp weather around this afternoon. Sunshine mixed with a lot of clouds. Temperatures will get into the upper 70s and heads up for a few showers, thunderstorms. They may be scattered around right through this evening. After midnight, they'll probably taper off just a bit. 58, the overnight low. Thursday morning, some fog and then sunshine. A few clouds and mild up to about 85. From the Weather Channel, I'm meteorologist Ray Stajan.
This report is sponsored by Discover. Guess what? Discover's accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. You heard right, 99%. If you don't think so, maybe it's time to face facts. You're stuck in the past. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report, learn more at discover.com/creditcard.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Get the dirt out before school's out and call Zero Res. Right now, get 3 rooms of carpet clean for just $129. Book online at ZeroResAsheville.com. Mention ESPN Asheville to secure this deal today. That's ZeroResAsheville.com.
How do you spot the all-new Nissan Rogue Rock Creek? Here's a hint. It's got all-terrain tires, a tubular roof rack you can't miss, and it's tough inside and out with lava red detail. You'll also find it in its natural habitat, climbing mountains, attacking rugged trails, and never backing down from any adventure. The first ever Nissan Rogue Rock Creek.
Intelligent all-wheel drive cannot prevent collisions or provide enhanced traction in all conditions. Always monitor traffic and weather conditions. Always secure cargo. Heavy loading of the vehicle with cargo, especially on the roof, will affect the handling and stability of the vehicle.
Bear Smokehouse Barbecue in Asheville has 2 things that all Sportsocracy fans crave: bold flavors and big portions. Oh, yeah. And they've got
now your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website.
Fried and then topped with bacon and cheese sauce. This is the place to be. Live music on Saturdays and the first Sunday of every month. They partner with the Guitar Bar to host Mr. Jimmy's Barbecue Blues. Bear Smokehouse Barbecue in downtown Asheville and South Asheville.
Bonus bucks. Bonus bucks. Once you win $1,000 in bonus bucks, you'll have more money to use on your fantasy leagues. Bonus bucks. The winning happens every weekday, right here
on ESPN Asheville.
Explore a career as a correctional officer. NC Department of Adult Correction is hiring with a $10,000 sign-on bonus. Becoming a correctional officer can be a rewarding first step along a criminal justice career. Visit dac.nc.gov/cojobs.
Portions of the following program were pre-recorded.
From the Ingalls studio,
WPEK Fairview,
WMXF Waynesville,
W225CJ Candler,
the #1 preset in your car, and the new and improved iHeartRadio app. Free never sounded so